the meantime, I want you to get your notes out, get your thoughts out, because I want to hear your opinion on what you have to say. And we'll say hello to everybody here in the chat as well. And it is Friday once again, like I said, and you could have been any other place tonight, but you are here right now. All right. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, it is time for you to begin to pay attention to what you see in the news. When you see the more and more and more, not just advertisement, but more and more stories, congressional hearings, it is all because there is a preparation in order. There's things that they're preparing us to do and see that they think people needs to be ready for. And I think you need to be ready for. We all should be ready for. There's this rumor of something coming down a pipeline in 2025 and 2026. And well, it was 2020 and was year 2000 Y2K. But the conspiracies are there. But I think now as we get more and more collaboration of some of these stories, it's time for us to pay quick attention to or close attention to it, because there may be some truths. Because oftentimes between the lies, there are some truths. And if you got to kind of, go between the two of them, you'll kind of figure that out when it comes down to these particular stories. All right. So where I'm going with this is, I think a lot of you, I talked to you in the past when I went to the Oregon McMinnville UFO Fest, and in my experience, my encounter with the people that took me up into the mountains, and one in particular lady said that she was from some other star constellation. And I've told that story in great detail. If you want to go back and find some of the videos, you can. And I don't know exactly which one to tell you, but I'm not going to go back into that story tonight. But I've made contact since then on several occasions, and we've spoken, and it's been some real out of this world type conversations. And it makes you wonder who we are, what we are. Are we real? Are we living in some type of simulation? And what are our minds? Do we see? Are we perceiving what we see? Is it all perception? Is it all a holographic thing that you hear some of the other conspiracy theorists talks about? Are we in some fractal universe when you hear Billy Carson talks about it? But whatever it is, there is a big plan, and there is a big wool that's sitting over our eyes when it comes down to the reality of where we are and what we do. I don't have the answers to it all. I'm just like you. I'm a truth seeker, and the exploration is the journey, and we're trying to get the answers. Now, I may know a little bit something here and there that can maybe put some dots together for a few situations, but I will tell you, after hanging around Dr. Greer and George Tsoukalos over the Conscious Awards, and of course Billy Carson and a lot of these people, and some of the conversations that go on, is you just want to be a fly on the wall. But for me, fortunately, I'm in the conversations. And so therefore, there are some things that you just make you go, like in Arsenio Hall used to say, if you're old enough, And so I think it's one of those things to really look at. I really say to you that it is one of those things for us to think about when we look into the fact that you may be walking around at the grocery store, or you may be in the vicinity of an individual that you personally, your spider senses is telling you that this is something weird about this connection. Maybe it's something weird about this person, because they do not, I will admit that the aliens that disguise themselves as humans, not oftentimes they are living the experience, or most times they're living the experience in humans. It doesn't mean that they got all of our innuendos and our movement and all of the things that we do down to a science. And so sometimes they make mistakes, and those are those glitches that people tend to see, whether the eyes and reptilians, or whether the shape shifting or the frequency move, because you hear this all the time now, especially in the day, in the time that we are right now, and how we're hearing some of these stories. And I think it's something for everyone to definitely pay attention to when it comes down to the conversations that you're hearing. Nicole and I, and she's in the chat, welcome. We talk on the back end a lot about what's going on. And she sent me a video actually today of a guy who was talking to me back in 2012, where he was a bodyguard, and he was approached by someone who said, hey, I need you to protect me. I need to pay you $53,000 for 3 days work, and we're going to pay you up front. And, the funny part about it, he said he turned down a job, and I was looking, at the video, and I was like, I would have too. you come up and tell me you're going to pay me up front, you just saying, make sure you put this in your banking account because you're not going to live the 3 days. And so your family is going to need to live off this. You're not going to be looking for the check. So it's something weird. But he talked about that he was approached by a Pentagon official. He was a bodyguard or former Pentagon official, and he was a bodyguard, and the guy was asking for protection, that he was going to be a whistleblower, and he was going to talk to Congress about things and structures that they saw on the moon and things that they saw on Mars. And when you get conversations like this coming out today, and although you might have been afraid to say something about it back in 2012, what changes? What makes people think that the landscape has not changed and that you cannot or you can come back with that? And it's a wild story, but it's not something that we're not familiar with that's going on in the landscape. So, I think he was, I don't know, Nicole, was he talking about Stephen Greer or was he talking about Lou Elizondo? Because Stephen Greer has always claimed that he has a fail-safe file system somewhere. If anything happens to him, it's going to be released. And so I think that was one of the things he was putting together for his own protection. So you never know when it comes down to this or whatever that scenario is. But my opinion now as a UFO investigator, if some of you didn't know, if you're just joining and you're just finding out, I've been on 11 TV shows in the last year or two. Ancient Aliens, History Channel, which is the premier UFO place to be, Discovery Channel. There's a show called Alien In Games, and of course a show called Bigfoot 1 and 2, and some other show that was on Prime and a couple other places, featured on Gaia a few times, Coast to Coast Radio, so and more. Forbidden Knowledge TV, and they have an 8-episode on Forbidden Knowledge as well. So, she said not Greer because the guy worked at the Pentagon. So that would have been Lou Elizondo he was trying to say, because I know they put the picture of him in the thumbnail. So I would assume that would be it. But where I'm going with this is the fact that, being close to these things and getting information. And so I've had my fair share of people warning and telling me these are certain things that you shouldn't talk about. Now, I haven't validated the fact that who was telling me this message and where they were coming from, but I will say it gets weird enough when it comes down to this, especially being in this space. And there's things that we want to look at. But I will honestly go ahead and commit to the verbiage of saying, yeah, we do have extraterrestrial aliens beings, and I'm not talking from another country. We're talking from another dimension, all right? And maybe out of space, maybe, but they're here. And also there's rumors now that there's something living in our waters, and it's been there for quite some time, civilization. And that goes back to the thought of saying, well, what's going on? We was looking at all of these movies from Wakanda when the guy came from the water, and we were thinking all of these stories, and even you go back to Greek mythology, a lot of the most weirdest stories that we get is based from water. So that makes me think that, when you get all the way back down, that's where maybe civilization actually began to process itself, because it was probably the safest place, and still is today. If you were going to live on this planet, then it will probably be water, because the environment there is never changing as much as it is on the outer side of this planet, but it's something to be reckoned with, right? And so that goes back to, like I was saying, that we know that we have reminiscences here of people telling their stories, from abductions to oh, maybe I've done this. But now I am getting more and more research into not only secret societies, but the secret societies are headed up by the Illuminati, and Illuminati are all from reptilian bloodlines. I'm coming across this over and over and over, and it's profound to fact to say, wait a minute, we think that we have all these species out here, and we do. But the fact that there are some that are really manipulating our frequencies, or whatever you want to call it, the vibration of how we really interpret things, is to a point where my growth has gone to a fact that this past weekend I was at a YouTube Vid Summit for the second time going, but it's their 11th time. Met some incredible YouTubers, incredible people, credible people with vision of creating content, and I could go into that message, but I've been harping that for a long time that people should get into content creation for the future. But once again at the YouTube Summit, it was all about AI and all of these things. And where I'm tying this in is technology. All of this is changing. So from now, we're going to be revealed the fact that there's other life forms living and walking among us, the fact that AI also one day can become sentient. The world is changing on us, and it's changing in our faces. And I think sometimes we really just don't care. And we want to be shielded. And from that shield, and now starts to tell me that we are more than our physical body. The greatest part about it, if all of you who watch me do the last video or so when I was talking about reading the document of the CIA document, I want to thank some of the, I probably got 15, 20, 30 emails from people who start using it and practicing it. I've gotten some profound stories. I was going to read some of them tonight. Got a lot of them that got the audio and was talking about how the frequencies were profound. And I think that's something, and surprisingly enough, like I said, that, some people may not have beliefs in that. They may not believe in what it is. I am now, and listen to me closely enough, I have learned enough thus far, and I'm learning even more that I didn't know what got into me, but when people was come and ask me who I am and who are you this weekend, even though I'm wearing a name badge, I didn't say I'm Roderick Martin, I'm a YouTuber. I say, I'm a conscious and awareness, I'm all conscious and awareness, and I am living the experience of Roderick Martin. Where the fuck did that come from? And when the first time it came out of my mouth, I was like, like Scooby-Doo, like, what the hell? But it was coming clear and clear that we are consciousness and some part of awareness, and that we are interpreting life as we are living it today. Now that goes back to all the myth of, okay, maybe you can be what you are, you can change your reality, you can become this and that, and it makes really sense to say such a things. And I'm okay, I'm just saying that this is a process of learning, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with me seeing life a little different, and pretty much so to speak. And so I'm just saying to people like yourself, take advantage of some of these information. Go out there and search for this stuff, because there is a preparation that we need to be prepared, that they're going to present to us not only alien races walking around us, other dimensions walking around us, religion, and all the things that we've heard is changing. And we are in that part where more people are now somehow coming up with their truths. And that's why, again, when I pivoted to truth versus authority for us to go forward, it wasn't all because it was just cool. It is that time, but it's bigger, and it's a bigger implication than just saying, hey, don't listen to the authority. It is because there's some other stuff that we're going to be played with. Our minds are going to be played with. And they're going to twist what we know today to cover up the truth that's coming out, and more psyops and mind games is possible. It's possible that they may do such a thing. And who is they? Those are the people who've been fighting to keep control of us through our minds, where most of us think they're controlling us through money and power. That's not it. Because I'm assuming if the fact that all of us came together as individuals, then we could take the money. We could take that, right? We can go in 10th hour, just march over to a 20,000 square foot mansion and move in, and they couldn't do shit about it. So it's not that. They're not afraid of that. They're afraid of the people. They're afraid of the awareness of the group and the collective coming together. And if you get back to what we've discussed and learned, that back then when they moved rocks and boulders, they were moving it with conscious thoughts. They wasn't moving it with equipment. There was no bulldozers when they built the pyramids. There was something else. And records show that their minds was the instrument. So imagine that ancient knowledge and all that stuff begins to come back. and we begin to remember, and we begin to process the use of those things, because the aliens, and now that we can say, okay, we find out that the aliens are walking among us, that means everything else could be real, right? Now we start looking at things a little different, and the exposure changes. And so I think that it is something, put stuff together. Matthew said a dude on Joe Rogan this week is all projections. Yeah. So I've been learning that. I've been learning. And like I said, I'm going deeper ever since I started doing the affirmation that I'm more than my physical body. I'm more than, and I can go beyond this body and see things. And it's working more and more. I go deeper and deeper into those steps, and then listening to the frequencies that let me know we're frequencies. Why am I listening? Every time I'm listening to those audios that I put up on the website, then why is it materializing and changing my thought process? And it's weird. It's really weird, but it's not a fear. It's not fear factor. It's enlightenment. It's things that you begin to see things a little different, and you begin to see the perspective of how life really is. And someday we just may be able to see the code of the matrix when it comes down to this. And so I think that's something that we need to really go that. And that's all became when I started studying more symbols and symbolatry of our ancient stuff. People's symbols are very deep, and hence to I'm going all in those type of conversations and in literature and thought and research, because it's actually giving me a new dimension of look of life, who we are, who I am, who potentially I could be, and the most hidden thing that is out there. And I think that's been one of the most secret codes that the secret societies use is within symbolism, churches and all of these religious leaders and politicians and family members, friends. And because why? There was no human language when it came down to things before symbolism. And even when the ancient aliens and all of these people walked the earth, it was signs and symbolism is what the people wrote and engraved on walls and stones. And it was symbols. There was no speech. They left symbols of what they saw and what they thought, the message and the meaning. And then over time, these things got wiped out. They got clean slated, monoliths and rocks and stuff that had these things on there are slowly disappearing. Caves are totally being plugged up. All these things are being hidden because people are doing that. And so I think it's one of those things that we begin to explore. And I've said it before, your mind is like a parachute, right? It works best when it's open. And in the more metaphor of that, it's just saying that having an open mind could get you to a point where your life can change. And I was studying this, and I've said it many occasions that the people that I'm starting to stay away from and separate from, and people who are separating from me. I got a few people that are separated, and I realized that, for a moment, I was like, okay, you have friends, or maybe y'all not friends, or your interest. It is because of interest. Our interest is not aligning up. There's things that's not doing. That don't mean that we won't say hi in passing, but the daily or the ritual of talking and conversations have shifted. And you now that when you ask for that symbolism, when you ask for that affirmation, it'll only connect you on the outer to things and people and situations that are at your level and above. But once you begin to grow, then that means other things begins to break off. And that could be people close to you. That could be ideas that you had yesterday that you don't have. And that is because we're tapping into this consciousness thing that then is tapping into the big reveal that there's other life forms and aliens and portals and all these things that go beyond the physical eyes that we use today, when it's totally different. It is totally different. And that is something I think that we want to really pay close attention to once you get down to the point of doing this. The most important factor is it that I think that everybody in here, or everybody as we go forward, should come to the conclusion that, when you think what do these aliens and what do these people look like? So when I met these people, when I went up into the mountains, way up there, that they took me up there, that took a 3.5 hour ride to get there, but I was there within 15 minutes and didn't even know what happened, and back to the conference or where when I was brought back, and it still goes back to the religious side of things. When you say, well, Roderick, what do they look like? And that was the main thing. People would say, send me a picture. Send me a picture. Did you take a picture with them? I said, yeah, I took a picture. I mean, they limit a human life. Why not? But it goes back to the spiritual side that people don't want to hear in our Bible, that says, Genesis chapter 21 or chapter 1, verse 21 through 26, let's make man in our image. Let's make man in the likenesses of ourselves, and ourselves is plural. Elohim, or that we know is a plural word for gods and not just God. And when you start thinking of that capacity, then maybe at this point we're not giants anymore, which we hear remnants of that. But if they're going to make us in their likenesses, then that will make them very, very smart enough to say, we want to create it in such a way that we can walk among them as gods, or whatever they want to call themselves. And quite naturally is finding out that we call them gods because we all are God in us, and we call the unknown God, right? And so the other part of this is more or less saying, hey, we look like them. And for example, any of you that have children, all of you who have children, and if you ever been in a situation, I'm sure you have, and it doesn't go this way all the time, where somebody has approached you and say, hey, you know what, you look just like your son, and you want to correct them mentally, and if you didn't verbally, and say, no, he looks like me. There's no way I look like him, right? Not in theory. He looks like me because I created him. You feel me? And so this is where that theory goes, which makes it so much likelihood that the fact that the ones who ever created human beings, or we were already here, supposedly, whoever created the version that we are now, did it in such a way that they can disguise themselves to walk among us and live the way they live, and go unnoticed. However, we're getting more and more and more stories through the back channel, especially what I do, being a UFO investigator as well, that there is a big reveal coming. There is something big coming. The question is, can you handle it? Can you be prepared for the truth if the fact that they come out and they give living proof to the fact that these particular people are not from this particular dimension? And I'm not going to say planet. I'm going to say dimension, okay? And can you handle that? Can you handle it when it looks just like your cousin, or it looks just like your boyfriend or your husband or your wife or a sister? What do you do when that scenario comes and all of a sudden you or they look alike, right? And that's the challenge that we all should think about. That's the challenge that we should put into motion of thought when it comes down to this. And those are one of the things that I would say pretty much. And Lydian says, what made you get into the car? I don't know. It was curiosity. They said the exact right things to me. They said the things that I needed to hear so that I would get into that car, she said. And still to this day, curiosity got the cat, right? I didn't feel any fear of the scenario, but curiosity got the cat. So what I think all of you should begin to do, I think you should begin to open your mind to the possibility that within a year or two, your answers are going to be a little further along than where it is. Your answers are, is there some extraterrestrials or aliens or whatever, the truth of it. And I'm not talking about all of us who are in tune consciousness, all of us who are, or you, use that word too, that, the kumbaya of it all, or I am spirit. No, we're saying not about you, but when that joker walks in front of you and you find out that it's a hologram or a reptilian making some type of puppet master behind it, or are you prepared for that? because that is what we're starting to hear. We're starting to hear that the way that this frequency is worked, the way that the holographic mind is working, that is all an illusion. All right. So why are we getting movies like, the movies that was, what's the guy that lived in a dome, Truman Show, and all of this? Why are we doing that? Even King Kong didn't fall for that shit in the movie. Remember, he threw a stick up there and said, "This is not real. Y'all can't fool me like this." Why are we not doing it? Why are we're doing it? I talked to an insider, and I'm not telling you I walked away with a total belief, but he was convincing and is going to give me some proof that we never been to space. And I'm like, okay, we're never been to outer space is what he really saying. And I'm like, okay. And, it doesn't make sense for the big reveal of us spending billions of dollars to say we're going to build some spaceship to go to Mars, and it doesn't exist. He kept saying, well, Roderick, look at the real statistic. You never seen a rocket go straight up. And I was like, okay. He said, every rocket that you saw that went up, it curved. And I was like, well, that's the way it works, straight up. If the earth is curved, right? This is my theory, and I could be wrong. But if the earth is curved like this, and the rocket went straight up for over here, but the moon is over there, it's going to go straight up that way. But if we're trying to get over here to the moon and the earth is curved, it has to go this way, because by the time it's up there, it's going around the world. That's my opinion and thought, and to my limited perspective, right? But he was giving some avid proof. He was going down this thing, and I was like, okay, that does sound, a little, different. And he was like, this is not real. This is not real. So I don't know what we will say to that. When it comes down to that. But at the end of the point of this, it makes sense to the fact that these are things that we need to prepare ourselves for. So I come to you and say, well, all right, that's it. I done got too many phone calls. I done got too many insiders. I done spoke with too many people that keep saying there's a big reveal coming. There's something huge and coming down a pipeline, and everybody should be prepared. Now, not prepared for devastation, not prepared for, some type of, thing that's going to oppress the mankind. Just prepare for the truth. And what does that do? And what capacity? Does it change the stock market? Probably not. Does it make you not still go eat? Probably not. Does it make you still not want to believe the next alien movie that come out? Maybe it may be a little more boring now that the fact that there are real ones here. Who knows? I think the next part would be, is there babies? But I think the ultimate question would be that somebody's going to say, who is your God, right? Because that's going to be the biggest thing. The biggest thing is going to be asking, who is your God? Because, that's where it all ends up, right? So to speak. This is where our whole manifestation of our power in religion and spirituality, all of that points down to the fact that there is a God, and who is it, right? And so I think that, and that would probably be my one question if I were able to talk with a particular, extraterrestrial. However, when you think about the story that I've heard lately, and I'm not going to give you total details, but the fact that there are water beings, there are civilizations that are living in our oceans. And I was listening to a high-ranking official in a conversation it was three of us there, but they were talking to this individual. I'm standing there. They're testifying to their greatest knowledge in that there's the civilization living in our oceans. Now, I could say this. I can say technically, I'm going to use that word, that we know that mankind have never been to the bottom of the ocean. We have not. Don't let anybody tell you that. Not to the deepest part of the ocean. We have no technology or either part. And we spend billions and trillions and gazillion dollars to go out of space, but never go down what's in space. And that could be a place that's off limits. There is more stuff happening in the Bermuda Triangle every year than we can fathom and imagine. And it's just something that comes on as frequency as it is. We get things that fall and sink that we can't go get. We get stuff that goes down into the bottom, like that last submarine, and you hear noises right before it cracked that make you wonder what really happened down there versus the pressure. Now, we do know that the pressure does that, because any plumber will tell you pressure make water run uphill. So going down there, pressure is going to make it do what it do. But the fact of the matter is, there's all these stories of the fact that there's a possibility that there could be life in our oceans. And once again, we have not. Mankind has only explored 4% of, of the oceans, and in the water on Earth is 73%. In fact, the water is so important that our bodies are 73% water. The earth is 73% water. Is that a coincidence? And we are born out of water. Is that a coincidence? When a baby's in the womb, and all of you have babies, that they're swimming around in the mom's stomach in water. Yeah, okay, maybe they got a umbilical cord or a snorkel or whatever. We come into this world in water. Everything is based upon water, H2O. I'm not going to be technical. We're just going to use the word water. So is there some mysterious connection to the fact that it could be truth, that there's something? We do know that water, and when I studied symbolism, was the one place that mankind couldn't go. There is one place on this planet that man is almost not allowed, because we can't breathe there. But there's life there, and there's life that comes out of there that can come on our side, but we can't go down there without some type of apparatus. We're saying, can any of you right now take a trip and say, I'm just going to walk into the ocean and walk out 100 feet into the water, and I'm just walking, I'm going to walk on the banks of the ocean? Not one of you. Maybe. Right? So that tells us that there is a significant coincidence of truth when it comes down to water. And why is it? Now, we've seen all the alien movies. Every time they attack us, is always because they found this backwater planet and they come to take the water. Really? Okay. But we now know on a human level that water is the new gold. Water is the new thing. Water is a point where they can take over. We learned in this book of sacred truth, sacred secrets that we have here, all about water, right? People have been learning that. I've been getting emails that they understand that spoken words, and when they use that water hydration machine that I use all the time when I drink my water, I put it on those water codes over there. And because I want the water is going into my body, why not? It's not programming. In fact, water goes into my body on a molecular level that is activating the very cells in my body. So if it has some type of frequency, some type of coding, then I will definitely want that code to be just right when it ventures down into my body. And so those are things that we're learning. Those are things that we are looking at. And so, yeah, on a technical thing, we have to hydrate, and without water, you don't live. Okay. You can probably go 30 days without food. You're going to be hungry. Your stomach is going to shrink, and that's where we feel it. But you can't go but a few days without water. So it is something significant about water that we want to not look into, but to totally understand from there. Sagittarius goddess says, as a kid, I always saw myself living in water. It was always on my mind. And I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm not saying that it's not possible. But I like to say water is life. Scientists figure out that the minerals in water spark life. And it makes sense. Once again, we are born out of water. When we, this is a term that people say, her water just broke, right? And so that is something that happens when we think about that. Where does that tie back into the conversation that aliens live among us? Where do that tie back into the fact that there's a possibility that we are going to be not just visited, we already been visited. We know that already. We know from the congressional hearings that there's always been a point to where, like they said, we have found abandoned spacecraft. We are finding ships that are no longer with an occupant in it. And this is something that I've said all along. Just remember, and this is kind of a situation that I don't that I'm getting a little more awareness to. But anyway, we are a community funded show. There's a thing up there. If you want to contribute to the show tonight, you can, which tells me that, not tells me, but anyway, I'll talk to you all about a few other things in just a little bit, but let's get back into our conversation. I think that, we have to begin to point to realize that, there's just a bigger thing in here. And I probably would have never said anything as deep as I'm willing to go on this night to say in whole truth that we're not alone. Not the fact that there's people walking among us. The fact that this whole thing is really weird when it comes to it. And it's almost one of those things to say, well, what's happening? Now, am I saying, Roderick, since you start going into this meditative state, you start testing this Monroe Institute document, or not just a document? Like I said, the document gets you started, but the frequencies are so weird when you hear it in your ear, but it does something to your mind. It does something to your body. You can feel it. What's the power of seeing light to heal your body? And I've said it before. There's a book that's called the Theoba Prophecy by McDeer or whatever. I've read it. I'm reading it again. And what's so really profound in this particular book is that the alien, or the guy who describes his alien encounter as they took him off to another world, everywhere he went, it was all about frequency and colors. The colors, the rainbow colors, the high frequency, and they had to put a certain shield over his eyes because our eyes wasn't prepared to see the world as illuminated as it was there. Everything was frequency and sound, or it was just the most beautiful story that you're reading, and you're sitting there, I'm reading it, saying, how can I visit this place? How can I truly visualize what he's trying to articulate in this book, that I can't really see it, but it's starting to make sense when you connect the dots from what everybody talks about, from all of the stories that you hear, the life, not that, but the NDIs or an ND death or whatever, people that will come back from near-death experiences, all of these things are now saying, wait a minute, is there some truth in what we're seeing? Because it is incredible for you to understand that as well. Give a shout out to Diana, who is our godmother of the channel, for supporting tonight, and I appreciate you with your contribution as well. And so it is those are things that we again need to explore in such a great way. And someone says that, damn, it was so not so good enough that you sound like some antisocial loner who had no clue of what is funny. Don't take it personally. I'm sure your family love you. I don't know if he's talking about me or not. Is anyone is chatting out a bot? And if he is, you can go fuck yourself, because I don't care about you, when you come down to that. And go do your own channel, do what you do. And if it's not what you're trying to say, then I'll apologize. But I don't get that intention right now, and I don't get it from the feeling of what I'm reading. And basically, you don't have to be here. You can go wherever you want to go. But I'm not an antisocial loner, and you had no clue of what it is. So I'm just going to hopefully say that I made a mistake. And if I didn't make a mistake, then it was intentional to what I just said. And I'm talking about Chicago UI. So that's who I'm talking to. So anyway, you're not welcome. So you can leave, and you can unsubscribe, you can go away, and you can do whatever you want to do. But anyway, like I said, I think it's it's one of those things that oh, okay. So if he's talking about you, then that's fine. I'll apologize. Don't go away. But when I see you and I'm reading, I'm thinking it's me. But correct me if I'm wrong and accept the apology. But if not, I just need y'all, when y'all talking to each other, make sure you point who you're talking to, so that I'm not reading it and in defense of that getting, because it's just a little too much to look over, and you're reading things and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, and so so continue with that. You know that we have the scenario of saying that the world is what it is, right? And it is to a point that we're creeping down that particular path that people are going to pretty much people are going to be freaking shocked. And I think they're preparing us for it, though, right? They've been preparing us for quite some time. They've been preparing us for quite some time that there's going to be a big reveal. There is no way we're having these congressional hearings. Now, here's my point of this about them walking among us. See, when we think about the politicians that we're claiming as heroes, that they're pushing the narrative, that they're trying to get the truth, and they're trying to, show us what's going on. It's not one of them that did not take the oath before us that they are in full protection of the sovereignty of the United States of America, that national security comes first before us and anything foremost. And you can best believe that the big secret keepers on this side is also saying that the fact that they want to, shut this down. So I'm gonna use, for example, what's his name? Tim Burchett, right? He's out there. At first, he was my hero, and he's still cool. I don't dislike the dude. I think he's cool. But if you really take into context that our government officials is not running this show when it comes to these aliens and everything else, that it's a cabal, it's the big secret keepers. All they got to do is walk into his office and say, "Hey, Tim, by the way, that stuff that you just found out yesterday that you think you're going to go have a press conference about, national security, you got to bag the F up. He has to shut up. He has to go and put his tail behind his butt and walk away and not say nothing. And even though he thinks he's doing it for the people, because he's just as temporary as anything else, right? They can vote him out or get him vote him out or crank the election to where he is gone. They could do all of these things, right? So for him to be sitting there saying what they're going to say, it's all corrupt, so to speak, I'm saying. And it's only going to happen when there is a situation that someone is saying, and which is we are hearing in the backdrop, that it's time for us to know the truth. It's time for us to have the big reveal. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to the Vatican, last year they called every 26 religious leaders and scholars from all over the planet, brought them in, and the whole story was that they were preparing the story to say that if there is a big reveal, to keep control, to keep everybody in check, that they were going to reveal the fact that aliens worship Jesus Christ too. So why would they want to do that? Why would they want to do that? Well, because they want to keep power. They want to keep everything. And so if they can do that, and the alien is going to say, no, they're lying, man, we don't. And who's going to believe them? Who's going to believe truth versus authority? Who's going to believe that scenario and say that? So I think it's one of those deals. Yeah. And like Nicole says, politicians are replaceable. You got to figure that out. Politicians, presidents, all of these people are temporary office. This is why the military industrial complex, Ronald Reagan said it, or someone other president back in the day said that this world is going to be ran by multinational corporations as well as the military industrial complex, because these generals are there for 30 and 40 years. President max is 8 years, and he's the commanding in chief, doesn't mean he have access to some of this information. There are stuff that the president is not privy to. There's informations and special ops access program SAPs that they cannot get to. They don't even know they exist. And even if they ask, people are like, I don't know, Mr. President. And he's supposed to know. So when you get even elected officials talking about, when I win this, I'm going to tell the truth on that, they're lying. They're lying because they have no power. They have no power to do that. They can put on a dog and pony show because it's popular. It's a popular subject. And so you better believe whoever behind the scenario that is allowing this situation to go this far, to a congressional hearing, to whistleblowers, to allow it go this far, there is a bigger hidden agenda. Plain and simple. Yeah, it is. All right. And there, now I'm not saying there's not two sides to the coin. Just as much as there's malevolent aliens out there, there's benevolent beings that's protecting us as well. And so they both exist on both sides of the plains. I've heard that too many times. So there is a war, maybe. There is a war on the minds or wherever it may be, but it's definitely into a point where those things are going. And the agendas exist. Nicole said a secret war. You know, they want to hold over technology before another adversary gets it. Yeah, that is the truth, because we all got to understand. We have to. If there is an alien technology, and you got to remember the 5 variables, and let me just share that with you all when it comes down to the 5 variables. One was that this technology is transmedium. Okay. And transmedium meaning that it can go from water, air to space, air to water. We on this planet, according to our technology as of today that we see within civilization, let's use that part, or civilian, that's the word I'm looking for. Civilian technology, there is nothing that we have that can come out of water, go into space, and then come back in the air and go into the water, because our propulsion systems that we see right now physically are jet propulsion system, and fire and water don't mix. It never has. So we can have a nuclear power submarine, but it ain't flying. And we can have a jet rocket, it ain't going into the water. But we can have an airplane that can't go up to space. And then we can have the fastest jet on the planet with the most lethal rockets and weapons on it, and it can't go into the ocean. And even our rockets today still fly off some type of propulsion of jet, but yet we have spacecraft that come into our orbit that is not using any propulsion system. They're not using anything, and they're able to go, once again, not only transmedium, but they're able to go from one distance to another within speed of light almost. They're able to go from here over here within seconds. They're able to go from here to up there within seconds. We have nothing and no human that can be in any aircraft with any space suit, air suit, or whatever can withstand the G forces of the speeds and the turns that some of these things, the aircrafts, are making, at least in a civilian world. Okay. And so those are things that do it. And we have to understand that the technology. So where we're going with this, and what Nicole was pointing out early in the chat, is that to hide the technology is simply because you can't have a third world country who ideology of freedom is running into a pile of people and pulling a plug and saying, I'm going to the other side because this was the right thing to do and my family is going to be taken care of. So if you got this ideology out there and it can tie a ray gun on a spaceship that can outrun the moon and the speed of light, and that we can't stop if we wanted to, that is not good for the free world, so to speak, right? Because we're not the most friendly and this adored country of freedom that we think that's out here in the world. It's just not true. So at this point, that is not in our best interest for a country to have just one. And like they said, it's not about the country that has multiple weaponry of mass destruction that you fear. You don't fear that one because they already understand that it's like chess. Ain't nobody going to win. It's the person or the people that want just one. They just want one. They don't want 30. They don't want 100 nukes. They just want one. And them the ones you got to be a little careful with, because they look at life a little different. Okay. So that's the other point. Nicole said, but the other side is that we cannot advance a society on a lie. So the time is up. True. I think it is, truth versus authority, right? We cannot advance with the bold-faced lie. The truth has to be it. And that's why when I started going down the road, truth versus authority, symbolism, and that the discovery as I started going more and more and more, it is a big lie. All of it's a lie. And at this point, but I think we all have learned from it. And honestly, until it was an ego thing, how many of you told your kids that Santa Claus is coming down the chimney when they were young? Yeah, at some point, I never told my kids that. Yeah, well, okay, maybe because you want them to know you the one, buying the gifts on the sugar honey iced tea of the house. But at some point, somebody, if not all of us, was either told or have told the story that Santa Claus is a real story, or your baby brother or sister is coming by a stork. Even though my mom was sitting there big as an apple, you know what I'm saying? But it was a stork. And I'm tying this into the illusion that we can be told anything and that we ourselves perpetuated to anyway, right? And so that's it. But the kids, when they were younger, was a lot smarter. Their intuition and experiences was totally different. Some of these young kids ain't buying that. Like, yeah, mom, right, whatever, because they're in a different space and time that is not making sense. But yet, 20, 30 years ago or 50 years ago, or just whenever, I remember my mom telling me that Santa Claus is coming down a chimney and we didn't have a damn chimney. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Cut a hole in the roof? We don't have a chimney. We have a furnace in the floor. He ain't coming up there, and it's on. It's cold and it's fire. He gonna cut it off? Should we cut it off? I was a young kid. Just asking those dumbass questions, and so you have to think about it to look at it from there. Yeah, and somebody said we use Santa Claus and put our names on the present. Yeah, right. Yeah, and Nicole said we didn't have a chimney either, but yet you heard the story that Santa Claus is bringing the gifts, right? And so it's one of those deals that the lies work for so long so we're in the Aquarian age, and supposedly we're now in the water bearers age, to where truth is now becoming the illusion of the Piscean age, or whatever is happening back then, is no longer relevant, or to a point to what is happening. And so now we are faced with the fact that we're dealing with more truth, and they have to do that. Now, truth comes on different levels when it comes down to the alien stories, right? Truth comes in so many forms of fashion. Are they saying it's true that the fact that there is an alien, all right, or that is true? But is it true if we're not hearing the fact that the extraterrestrials, live underground in caves? Boom. Or there is truth in saying, well, they're here, but they don't live underground. So, and so none of us know. None of us know. The part of this is the spiritual awakening that people are going through, that are now getting people a little more open-minded. Now, I didn't have to go through this, over the years of me being a UFO investigator, years of me being on TV shows, or the books that I've read, the book that I've written that's coming out soon. None of this stuff has to give me the part of saying this is how I know. We all have this instinct that we kind of know some of the things and what is not happening, or you just want to have your spider senses, if that's what you want to call it. But when it comes down to the fact of the facts, that there's a base on Mars, or there is the moon is hollow, it rang like a bell, like the story said when they hit this thing. You want to hear those stories that we never been to the moon, that it was all fake. The piece of it is, how could they do it? Why would they do it? Why would they spend billions of dollars just to fool people that we went to a moon that both sides know it didn't exist? What difference does it make? Is it more story to say, okay, if we get to the moon first, will our country or our people believe the story that the moon is real because we got there first? So that's what it is. Or maybe Russia said, oh, we got there first, so we can claim the moon is real, and all of a sudden be seen as a superpower because we're smart. I don't know the game plan of all of that, right? But obviously at this point, the illusion is to block the truth, and put everything else out there, so that you can understand that. And so that is it. Do we have any pointers to a person to just starting their spiritual journey? I'm wearing a shirt that says, and here's my pointer. I'm wearing this shirt, okay? Had it made. I've never put it on our website for sale yet, but it's something that I used to say. And the verbiage on this shirt says, "You can't grow spiritually while learning religiously." I believe that. I totally believe that. One is internal and one is external learning. Okay. Religion is going to be external learning. And that's where mostly all of the authority takes over with the truth versus spiritually, you're going to go internal learning where you're going to look within and the answers are within. I will say from my journey of saying this, it's time for you to trust your inner self. That's where most of us go wrong because we question ourselves. We question the knowledge that we've learned. We question everything about ourselves. This is why I told a story when I started studying symbols that the question mark, the way it was designed with the dot, the bindu, the point of origin, the dot is the middle, is the intersection between two crosses. The dot is the place of origin. But it's also in the human translation of things, it's the end, right, of sentences, same as the question mark. The question mark, although was a spiritual ancient symbol that truly meant for man to say to you the question, your answers are within you. Everybody can answer whatever you seek. You just have to go dig within yourself, whether it's the life, how to solve your financial, whatever it is, the answer is within you. How somehow when the written language came out and authority said, okay, let's make people ask the question. This is a question. And I'm not saying how it was devised, but the point is that we began to, just as you asked me the question, which is, I'm not saying it's not okay. It's just the pointer would be believe in yourself. And now that you have that answer to that question, start asking yourself internally, and you should get a better perspective, is what I think it should be. And that's the true thing. The shirt done got a little smaller since I done lost some weight. Yeah. it has done got a lot smaller. I was reading what Judith said. But yeah, and so I just look at things totally different, everyone. Studying those frequencies, studying those that document, and I've read the information a ton of times to you. I read the stuff, the breathing. Today, I was able to just start breathing. To handle some situations that I was, facing at the time, and it was just perfect how I was able to compartmentalize the situation, place it into that zone that I was teaching last week of the safe zone, turning that door, locking it up, taking that breathing and taking it down to a calm situation, and all of a sudden I was getting my own inner joy. I was getting my own inner joy of, hey, this is cool. This is nothing. And what was a big matter, start registering on a frequency, it's a small matter. It really is. It's a small matter. I spent 2 hours of someone just totally lying to me, and it just ticked me off that they was one after another. And well, no, it was yesterday or the day before, I'm sorry. But it goes that route to a point to where people will just do that. But you now can see that it's not this individual, right? I'm not blaming them anymore. Maybe they just got whatever consciousness or whatever situation is just experimenting to fact that it can experiment with me. And I would just say, no, we're just not going to play that anymore. We're not doing that game. So those are the things that you can go. Yeah. Judith says she's using a 55515, and that's the healing, not healing, reduction of pain. Let me be more specific. It talks about that in this. So if y'all hadn't got it, go ahead and do it. And pretty much, but I've gotten, like I said, 20, 25 emails. People in the most profound ones are the ones who've been listening to the frequency. And their first thing they say was, the sounds are weird. It'll if you're not into it, it'll make you nervous. Like, what am I listening to? But once it started getting into that your body and you're listening, and the guy says, go to your breathing exercise. Now I'm going to meet. It's funny because he says, I'm going to meet you there. And you're like, where am I going? You are going somewhere. You are going to go out of the physical body. You're going to go there. And he walks you through these journeys and help you see different things through the audio. And it's just miraculously good. But anyway, if you did get the document, and, I'm not even putting it in the chat, you can go to the website and make sure you download all three or buy all three, because I see people that'll get part one, and I've said it before that it's mixed up. Part one has parts of the file, part two. So you need to get them all three, and then you just move the folders to the first folder, second folders. I guess I could have been very uniquely and decide to do that. But that's, yeah. And Factory Polo said, can we talk sometime? Honestly, I would say yes to you. And I will tell you to contact me. I'm just going to let you reach out. I'm not going to give permission or not, because I'm now to a point, I've learned enough that I'm no longer just opening myself up to people. I've been getting some real strange energies, some conversations of people, that say they this, they the God this, and just trying to, it is, this world that we're in is what it is, but if you feel compelled to do the research, find my contact information and you reach out, I will respond. But just too many people ask that question, and I'm not saying that you wouldn't, but they do it in this chat. It makes it look like, and I fall with it every time. Yeah. But this will be the last time I'll respond to one of those. But find a contact, do what you do. If you do your part, I will do my part. I would always do that. But like I said, now it is weird. If I gave you all some of the conversations, if I don't return the phone call fast enough, or if they email, I get the Billy calls. Oh, give this to Billy, and you got to do this. And I'm surprised. I had a person today. It was just supposedly had all the credentials, and the lady was, I was in a conference, and I answered the phone, and I said, hey, listen, I'm in a conference. I'll reach back to you. Okay. But I wouldn't even answer it, but I noticed I saw the text before. So I was just letting them know. And the next day or day and a half, I'm getting an email. Oh, you didn't call me back. Wow. You said this, and wow. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you really kidding me? And then says, but just go ahead and forward this to Billy. I just replied, look, if I gave Billy the response that you've given me, and if he don't return your email within 24 seconds, because he's busier than I am, are you going to go off, And then if you had to respond, no, I wouldn't do him like that, then you're telling me you don't respect me and you want me to connect you with him. That's not working. That's not going to work. It doesn't work like that, And I hope they're listening, because it's just crazy. It is really, truly crazy. And then to represent yourself that you are the chosen one. Really, really. Come on now. A chosen one wouldn't even act like that. Go figure. Okay. So but that's not one of one. I get a lot of that all the time. All right. And I'm just saying that. So I just want y'all to know I'm here. I've been here, but it does get to a point. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect your psyche. Back on the alien talk. That's what we're here for. And this is something that you want to do. So again, Factory, reach out. That's all I'm saying. Reach out. I'm there. Just reach out. Okay. And you'll be surprised. I will answer. I will call you back. They'll be like, you called me. Like, you did want me to call, right? But yeah, but now I tell everybody, protect yourself, and make sure you protect yourself consciously, because it is, y'all give a shout out to Mark Eddie. Give a shout out to my guy. So, but what I'm saying is you have to look at life and what it is and where we're going. So let me pose a question to all of you. And we said it before, have things change. What would you do if you find out your neighbor, and we're not talking in a jokingly manner no more. Let's not talk, hypotheticals, in which I'm probably asking a hypothetical question, but I'm saying, what are you going to do when you find out that the person that lived next door to you actually eats rats and a reptilian and or just whatever. Because we heard those stories. We had the guy from the Shalites that was here telling a story how his parents or aunts and uncles and the Jacksons was eating rats. What happens when you see that? You know, maybe they got a bunch of whatever. Who knows? But the point I'm saying is, when we find out, because the world of Star Wars seemed to be coming closer to us, right? Star Wars was before its time when they went into the bar and all these different species was in there jamming. The blue person, the green person, the one with 16 eyes, the other one with just an eye, one big eye, and the woman that was fine, but she turned around and got 22 breasts. You know, Star Wars was showing us some stuff. It was before its time, but it also let us know that these people were connected. And when Hollywood makes these movies, they're not just making this stuff up. It's called Hollywood because they're basing it on the whole thing of being magical, and the Hollywood comes from the Hollywood tree, and the Hollywood is a sacred thing that they made magic wands out of. So they're using magic on us, right? But the whole point I'm saying is, what happens when this stuff becomes a reality? When it becomes a reality, and then we have to see things that way, and I think it changes it all the way. And Monica says aliens need to stay on their side of the fence, right? You know, and then they want equal rights, then they want whatever. So I'm not saying that that's not it. I'm just saying to people, and as I'm saying in this conversation, I just want y'all to know, from the virtue of my position, being a UFO investigator, being connected with some of the top ufologists, scientists, the minds of consciousness and all that's in my phone, conversations, from the fact of putting the dots together and knowing some of these people who you are hearing about, that I've spoken with, sat down with, had lunch with, you know, it's real. There's some stuff walking around. It's real. There's some races of things, species, I'm using the word species, that are walking around on this planet right now. Now, I don't have any proof to saying they're at 2200 Jackson Street, like old Point was saying. I'm not saying that's the address. And I'm not going to sing the song, 2200 Jackson Street. I'm not telling you go there, and that's where they used to live, right? But I am saying to you that we've got enough evidence from the military, from congressional hearings, from all of that tells us one thing and one thing only, that they have found abandoned spacecraft that is not made from this world. You don't have to quote that. That is the truth. They're saying it. They're saying it under oath. They're releasing it. It's on the news. It's in the places now. But they're moving in a different direction. They're moving that is demonic now, that it's not just alien world that we're looking into. They're moving that is more of a spiritual world, and that there's things that's unbeyond us that are coming into our lives and our minds through frequency and vibration, through portals and all of this, that has nothing to do with a spacecraft that came out of the planet. They're saying this. They're saying that the possibility of, when you go back and look at ancient ruins and things, I was talking to one of the researchers today, and we were talking about how are they finding artifacts that are similar to what they found in Egypt over in Arizona, but they're identical. Why would such thing happen? Well, maybe they got the same message. Maybe it was one global world of government power that was over the planet, period. Or maybe they was able to travel through, appreciate the support. Y'all give Factory Polo support. Thank you for the super chat. But maybe they were walking through portals. And there was a movie, I forget the name of it. One of y'all would know the movie. There was a movie where this couple at first, I thought they used to go down to this thing under the house. Y'all remember? And they used to stare at this other world. They never went out there because they was like, nothing lives out there or whatever. But they start finding out later, if I'm not mistaken, that every place had these portals underground in these little chambers you can go through. You just end up winding up over here. You go through there, you end up winding over in Mexico or You go through here, you end up winding up in New Zealand. You know, it was like they wasn't transferable where you could say, okay, I'm gonna dial in the dial and go this way. They all was fixed, except that it, you know, and so people were in one part of the world and they would just go down in this hole. One lady had it out in her barn down in the ground, and she was doing this before kids found out about it. She would just go travel and she'll go in this thing, and next thing she winds up in Egypt somewhere in real time of the day, not the past or time travel. It was just a way to come up out of the ground, and they would go over there. It was a trip. And she said she saw that show. Do you remember what it was, Maya? I don't remember the name of the show. Jacqueline says she had a dream like that. By the lectures, I would chill in the alien as long as they are cool, and I don't need alien caring though. It's cool until they, you know, you get into the conversation and the conversation shift and start saying that you're beautiful, and you're like, oh, maybe they like me. And he's like, yeah, you cute, you got real cool skin, and then they're like, yeah, you got a nice body because you're that vegan, healthy type. You know, and they was like, yeah, we love that. And you're like, yeah, I love you too. And he going, yeah. And he puts on his bib and take out his eating utensils, and his love to you is saying, yeah, we love to eat this type of meat all the time. Surprise, right? You know, I got too much sugar. You're not going to eat meat. You know, like, no, that's not good meat. There's a little too much fatty acid or whatever. Who knows? But for you healthy, lean and cuisine type filet mignon people, y'all in trouble. Y'all in trouble. Oh, we got Damien in the house. We haven't talked to him in a long time. So I'm just saying to y'all, you know, that's what it is. But take it for what it's worth. Stubborn, bro. Take it for what it's worth, that you would have to understand that it is it. So I think my suggestion to everyone is to begin wherever you're going to go. Start learning to understand that you are a more of a projection of awareness, consciousness, that we are having a outer body experience every day at some point, and that we are perceiving this as it's supposed to. I know it's hard to wrap our head around it, but there are just too many people coming forward with the information that this is what it is. And some stuff that I've been locating and reading is that we can meet somebody in real time. And once we get to talking to this individual, that it could be in a reptilian, that the way that they have some type of device, somebody else mentioned it to me today, but there's some type of device that they're using that is doing a holographic of this human that we are touching, feeling, and think is real, but they're actually behind it. And in whatever, I don't think it's another dimension. We just can't see it. But this the way that they are moving and guiding these individuals, especially if they're politicians. And the person was asking me, do you think it was a politician or, yeah, Night Sky? I think that's what it was too. And they were saying that, welcome to the store, Granny. She said, I've been watching you for a year now. And so they were saying that we, like I said, now we're just in the whole look of things is totally different than what we know. Now, my concern is this. Somebody was asking me, like, well, Roderick, you know, do you think these aliens? And I'm like, if you had the power, any of us, if you had the power to come here and be who and what you wanted to be, or presume who you wanted to be, or take over the consciousness or body of someone, why would you want to be the bum under the street down there and live there and just experience life living on the street when you can experience life as Elon Musk or some type of politician or Beyonce, or you can experience life as Rihanna and say, okay, that this is how I'm going to experience it. I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to be such and such. And that's it. I'm not saying that she is or any of me is that what we're talking about, but I'm saying if there was a choice in the matter, you will probably want to not have the human experience of the on the lower echelon of humanity and go through the turmoil of things. And then if you can't go shift up out of it, so you know what, I don't like this deal. Let me just go back and say, hey man, you know what? I don't want to be SpongeBob no more. Let me be Mickey Mouse. So what you get what I'm saying? But maybe they don't have that option of doing that, and that's something that we must think about. And pretty much, yeah, make sure y'all give the video a like and share and everything else. And pretty much, but I will say, as we talk in general of what we're seeing, I started to go down the road, like I say, from symbolism. And as I continue down this road of symbolism and all these symbols, and find out that they are our ancient way of communications, the symbols led all the way back to, of course, religion and secret societies, because they were hidden messages. As I keep tracking, the symbols go all the way back to the secret societies ran by the Illuminati or the Freemasonry and all that, which is everywhere, by the way. And they all ain't on the same team, okay? Now the traces are sending me all the way back to, the desert side over there, not India, but the Iraq and all of this places. It takes us all the way back over there to leading all the way back over to Africa too, that these people are possibly reptilians. And it goes back to the 13 families. It goes back to, the families that are running the Rothschilds and all this way back over there. And that all of these people got they sticky hands within controlling humanity, so that they're guarding it by guarding the actual secret of truth. That's it. Because we don't need to know the truth. It's like the Wizard of Oz, what's behind that curtain. And I'm not making this up. You can go and look it up yourself. And that's the whole reason. Don't just believe me. Just take my word to get you curious, enough curiosity that you will begin a process of search and, going on your own expeditions and searching for the truth. But it definitely exists to a point that this is what's going on. It is simply what's going on when it comes down to this. And so I pretty much, so in the chat, we have, one of those things. Let's see. Dr. Strange says, yeah, man, you're on the right point. Why don't they want us to know the truth? It's no different that, you have children, Lillian, you have children. There's things that you just didn't want them to know. There's things that you felt that because they were kids, there's something they don't need to know, and they're not ready to experience. It's no different spiritually. I get it now when the Bible and Jesus says, well, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they do. Well, okay, maybe that's making a little more sense, that we can't handle the truth. That's just the point of the matter. And I don't think and I'm not saying this to an individual, because see, the truth of the matter is an individual can't handle certain things. People can't handle the truth. That's a whole different ball game, telling one person at a time that the world is flat. Okay. But telling a group of people that the world is flat at the same time, you got chaos, you have, unrest, you have, possibly war, you have the sentiment is unpredictable when you tell a group of people the truth. It just doesn't happen that way. Somebody will get burnt at the stake. Somebody will get mobbed. Somebody will get stabbed. It's just unalived. It just, somehow the mob is fickle, and telling the truth to a group of people changes the dynamics. And when you want to tell 5 billion people that the religious doctrine that they've been going under, the control system, the law of this, or the laws of the world is this. Because one of the greatest things that we are going to run into is when you have anyone in your family, friends, loved ones, someone that they have a difficult point to make the social awareness switch of something that they have been told all of their lives that was true. And even after discovery of new information, And now that what they were told all of their lives is not true, they're either going to make or break. It's to flip the same. When somebody was told something all of their lives was untrue, was not true, all of their lives, it's not true, it's not true. And when they make the exploration and find out that it was all a big lie, that it is true, either they can handle it or they cannot handle it. In some cases, it drives them crazy. It drives them bananas. Some people take their lives. Some people take other people's lives. Some people go sporadic. Some people just disappear altogether. And then there's some people who are enlightened and it changes their world and they go to be life changers and they go and help the planet and they save stuff. They cannot tell everybody that aliens walk among us. There's no way. And whoever's preparing to do that, it's a problem. It is a big problem. So I'm not a proponent against them lying to us. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they need to have that red pill and blue pill. And they need to say, if all of you who like life as it is, and you really enjoying it and you want to keep it the same, take this fucking blue pill. I'm just using that one. Because what we're about to do, you may not believe it. And all of you who want the truth, but in spite of what you're going to hear, you're going to have to accept it as is now, as your new reality. In spite, you take the red pill. That's the only way they're going to be able to pull that off. Because there are some people going to say, I just like this thing. And there are some people going to have something that's good enough with the lives that we have in the conscious or the outlook. And they're going to take that red pill and it's not going to be so colorful. It's going to be like the movie The Matrix, right? It's dull on the other side. You know, it's Zion and all this stuff, you know, right? And others are like, I want to go back. I'm tired of eating this mush. I want to go back to the taste of a fake steak. If that steak is a simulation, me chewing the cow is not real, but it tastes juicy and got flavor, I'd rather just live that. That's what they're saying. They're going, I just rather do that. So let's just ask the audience. Let me ask you, blue pill, you're going to keep life as it is? Even though you know there's some lies, maybe, but you're okay with the big lie because you're living it. You're prospering in the big lie. But you take the red pill, you get all truth. But there's a possibility that the truth shift the reality of life. Who's going to take the red pill and who's going to take the blue pill? Let's find out. And let me know why. Let's see if we got some participation. Hit the like button, the share button. But tell me red pill, blue pill for you. Blue pill, keep the lie. Red pill is the truth. But the truth changes the reality. But the blue pill saying, hey, you still can go. You can still become a millionaire in this big lie. But do you want the red pill or the truth? And I just want to know colors. Y'all let me know the color. Blue pill, red pill. That'll stand out in the chat for me versus I know some of y'all saying truth or I'll do this and do that. But just let me know. Because I got a whole bucket of red pills over here. I got a whole bucket of red pills. Do you want it? Judy talk about red all day. No other talk about red. Roxy said no pill for me. See, that would probably be the best perspective. Like, I ain't taking a blue one. I ain't taking a red one. I'm just going to take no pill. Red for sure. All of y'all are red pills. All right. So you know what that really means, though, to me? That just means that everybody is curious. You already know what your life is about. You already got an assumption to what you see this is. And you already can see the ending of it. And you might well say, you know what? Let's just try something new. Let's just try something new. So all of you seeing red pills, talking about mix it blue. You already got a mix right now. That's the problem. Everybody living off the Kool-Aid of the half truths and lies. That we're living the mixture of the pills right now. That's how to keep it the way. Because you got to remember, the blue pill, regardless, is going to be your new truth, regardless if it's the lie. Because you're going to live it. It's going to be your truth. You get where I'm getting ready to go with that, right? The red pill, regardless if it was a lie, is still going to be your truth. And which in essence, we're living our truth now, regardless of the big lie. Did we really say that? Did I just say that? Yeah, I did. But that's where it is. And so I think that's the whole point. There is my girl Courtney. What's going on? If you got a moment, you want to join, you know how to hop into the show. Hop on in here, sweetheart. I will hop in yours. You can hop in mine. You know how to get to the back office. Come on in. We're talking about it. And we can go into the psychic conspiracy of things. Let's do that. Let's shift to that. You got a minute? Hop on in. Just hop in and hit the button and bring yourself on stage. You can do that. So once again, it's about that though, right? It's about, can we look at life that way and take that red pill or blue pill? I see nobody really said blue pill though, right? That you wouldn't look at the reality of that. So that's where we're going now with this alien stuff, because at some point they're going to have to do that. So Courtney, they saying they want to hear your take about this. So if you there, just pop on in. Anyway, but she'll come in if she wants to. She'll be able to. She has the control, just like I do. We on the same system, and we can do that. But I'm just saying though, this is why it's so essential for you to begin to grow spiritually, psychically, if that's a word. You have to now take beyond the physical realm of things and begin to perceive this as could be a holographic life that David Icke and a lot of these people are talking about, because it's starting to make sense. I'm not saying it's connecting all the dots of the conspiracy, but it's making sense that they are hiding the big truth. They are hiding the truth of this world. And when we hear so much conspiracies that we hear about life, about the extraterrestrials, about, the other world, can we see beyond? And that goes back to people like Courtney with the gift to talk to people from the other side. The other side of where? It has to be another side for her to communicate. The truth is, they're not here in this side. They're not here in the living. Are they still here walking in just another physical realm? You get what I'm saying? Or they're here. We all are just in this parallel universe type stuff. We just can't see them. They just passed on and they went over to phase 2 of our lives. You get what I'm saying? Maybe that. We got Ethan in the house. What's going on, brother? What's going on? All right. So I'm saying that is a question that we all probably will want to know. Nicole said the other sides can see into the other dimension. All right. I've had stories. I had somebody that sent a story with photographs that they were studying, meditating, and they were tapping into somewhere else. And when they did this, they ran into a reptilian on the other side of this image that they had. And the reptilian did like this, like was caught off surprise. Like, what are you doing? Why are you in here looking? And almost telling the people, go get on back out of here. It's like they was in some command booth or some control of being able to that person access. And they sent some pictures and I was like, okay, let me look. And I don't know how they got the pictures or whatever. I forget the story of that part, but I was looking and I was being like it was some illusion. Like, was that some eyes looking at me? But yeah, they was like the reptilian. They moved into this realm and they was able to see the reptilian. And the reptilian was like they were doing and turned and was like, how did you get here? Like, get out, move, So that could be it. That's part of it. Now, the process that challenges us when you get to the extraterrestrial and alien stuff is that more stories are coming out that we are ran by a reptilian group. Now, what that could mean is that the reptilians have figured out to manipulate our reality. And then everything else is more or less something else, right? From the standpoint. Okay, here we go. Hang on. Look, you could have just hopped on in here. You know what I'm saying?
Hi, friend. Actually, let me turn some of this stuff on.
How's it going?
It's so good, my friend. Only you. I'm turning my little soundboard on. I forgot to do this before I jump. But listen, only you, after a day full of work, like my hands still have so much pain.
Right.
A week's worth of work. I had a big group tonight. I have a group tomorrow morning, which I don't normally do. But because of you, I popped on. I was on the phone with Ethan real quick, and I thought, you know what? Okay, fine. It's for my brother. I'm going to jump on and say hi. So hi, friend, and hi, everybody else.
They're all hi, Courtney, hi, Ethan. They're just going. So
love you guys.
All right, so let's give them a taste of what we haven't started, what we're contemplating on doing.
Yeah.
Let's give them some psychic conspiracy, because we're going to do a show together. We're going to do a podcast or something. We're going to do some psychic conspiracy. We're working on it. It could be months down the road, y'all, but we are. But before we do that, I'm now kind of talking about parallel universes and all that. So since you are able to speak with people from the other side, that's the word I'm going to use. Can you say that we're all like here, we just can't see them? You know, in other words, like we're not operating on a level where our loved ones is just like my grandmother's standing right here, just really like in my face. And I'm like, you know, I feel like something, but it's really, or my, you know, or dead, you know, a passed on cousin is just right here screaming at me like, yeah. And I just don't know it.
Well, I love the question. And so this is how I feel, guys. I'm also a skeptic. Like, I mean, I say that I'm not a skeptic with my work, but let's say I'm a reformed skeptic. Let's say that.
Okay.
And I also say that if anybody really speaks in like, this is the way it is, I also, you know, the more we know nothing. Right. Okay. And so when I'm going to answer this, I will often say, this is how it feels to me. And so, yes, our loved ones are with us, I believe, at all times within that breath of connection. And so while they might not be going, Roderick, what are you doing? In that, they're in the energy of the most beautiful peace and energy that you can imagine. And so you can feel them in different degrees of them. So talk about different timelines. We can feel our loved ones come through in the way it was that they were struggling here in this life. You can speak to them, connect with them. Even I had a client today whose father had passed 6 or 7 years ago, and she's still kind of riddled with anger and things like that that she's moving through. She is somebody who discovered a lot of things once her father passed. Mm-hmm. And so we can, as we're processing those kind of energies, we can deal with them in the way that they were here. So what I mean by that is we can still be frustrated with them. We can express that. We can speak to them the way that they were there. So they will call it lowering their energy to kind of be in that space and have their same feelings. They will hold accountability. You can move through that energy with them, but you can connect at the different degrees, levels, dimensions, call it whatever you want to call it. I don't really care about the verbiage actually, but you can connect with them in all the different levels of their healing through the different levels of your own healing. And so as you heal here, they do too. It's so cool. What are you looking at? Do you got a dog? What's happening?
No, I have a mouse.
Oh, do you? Hi, little mouse.
Yeah, he's look like he's bigger than normal. He's gonna not live long. I have some stuff that will whack him out.
Listen.
Yeah, and he's hungry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell him he's in the wrong place. He's in the wrong
spot.
Yeah, I get him now because behind it, I'm at my office in front of a 5,000 square foot warehouse. When they divided it up. So that warehouse is next to the woods. And I just got tired of them coming in and out. When it gets too hot, they come in, and too cold.
Mm-hmm.
So this time, and then when my dog is walking around, they just don't like it. So he's in the other room and chilling. And so I saw it earlier and I was like, that looks, but I got some lethal stuff that's going to whack him out. And he's been chewing on it. And I'm like, he's got like 24 hours. But I just hope he don't go to the other side and be nibbling on my ear when I'm asleep. Right.
Well, yeah, exactly. Maybe we do want him. As you're talking about your dog, I can hear my dog in here crying, annoyed that I'm in here with you. But yeah, I mean, we can connect to loved ones on the other side too. But to me, they are loved ones. Call it heaven. I was raised Southern Baptist, so I still call that space heaven, or just that next plane, that next dimension. But it is just that, and we can all actually connect in that way. You and I've discussed that even in your own private session before. Our loved ones come around. They are with us.
All right. So what about, let's go conspiracy now.
Yeah.
The CIA, I was reading the documents, and we've been reading this document of, I'm going to read you this. It's a document that's out from the Monroe Institute that teaches people to do their out-of-body breathing and everything else, right?
Right.
So there's an affirmation that it has at the beginning of this thing that you're supposed, I'm going to read it to you, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you. And it goes that you're supposed to say this affirmation: I am more than my physical body, because I'm more than physical matter, and I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. Therefore, in this exercise, I deeply desire to expand, experience, to know, to understand, to control, the use such greater energies and energy systems that it may be beneficial and constructive to me and those who follow me. And also during this exercise, I deeply desire the help, cooperation, assistance, and the understanding from those individuals whose wisdom, development, experience is equal or greater than my own. And I ask their guidance for protection and influence of any source that may provide me with less than my stated desires. And I now protect myself as I may need from the influence. And then it has one other part, says, I open this channel of communication only to those whose knowledge, wisdom, development, experience is equal or greater. And I restrict such contact and communication to constructive purpose and reject all other. And I open this channel only when I consciously desire at all other times, and other times it remain closed. How is that opening up our psychic ability? Do we all have the power to do that? I mean, you have a gift, but why would a person say, okay, I'm more than my physical body? I'm not saying, and I read this and I study it, but why would the CIA play with this? And why would they teach this to their operatives?
Well, first of all, I believe, and I would say I know, we all, again, yes, have this gift and ability. When we are attuned to the frequency of the one, and when we are attuned to the frequency within, all of our full potential, we're very beautiful and powerful connectors and beings. What you just read, yes, is something that one can use to connect for sure. I believe too, so I do think it's important to make sure that we are healthy. What I mean by that is to the level that we will connect is to the level that we have healed as well. So if we've got lots of trauma, pain, that's why even, if you're listening to Forbidden Knowledge, right, you've got Elizabeth talking about all of the different healing modalities. You've got, I've done many of those things, and am also always in a state of healing and processing my crap. We all have it in this human form. And so as we're willing to dive in deep to those things that most people don't want to feel, as we feel those things, we become brighter lights here on this planet where we can connect to a higher realm. And so what you just read is, yes, a way of connecting for sure. I have my own way of calling on the guides and angels and connecting, but that's come through time. So somebody just said they have manufactured psychics. We have the real deal. Dr. Strange, you're so sweet. I always love seeing you on here on my podcast, on Roderick's, everything.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we appreciate you, right? But listen, when we heal and we find our way, literally like psychic or a mediumship or anything like that is simply a symptom of connecting to the light. So the government knows this. This is why we're
Okay.
not, they know this. And so when we connect to that light, we are one with source. If you knew that, if Roxy, if English teacher Leon, if Jessica, if everybody was really owning that, we would not be in the state that we are in this world, right? We would all be, there would be no war, there would be no fear, there would be no any of that. And so they teach these agents to embody some of these things, to yes, gain information for themselves and to use
Okay.
it. Very often they're not using it for the betterment of society.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, all right, so how do you equate this to the term remote viewing as opposed to communications? Because, and let me just throw this into the thing. There were agents that were doing remote viewing,
Yes.
but yet they were going into places where people were unalived already.
Yeah.
But was able to speak with these unalive folks to find where they had crashed.
Yeah.
And it's like, but they didn't tell them, like, by the way, you're not really here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming, but we're not really coming. We just need to get the flight. I don't know. That's the humor side, but it's like, what are we hearing here? You know what I mean?
So the remote viewing, I remember when I realized, like, oh my goodness, that's what I'm doing. So very often in a session, when I'm connecting to a client's energy, I'm seeing either the things that, their loved ones were moving through, or even what their guides and angels are showing me. And sometimes it's what it is that the client that I'm connecting to is looking to. So, or looking at. So very often this happens in a virtual session. I've got clients from all over the world. And when we're in session, sometimes what is in their space, like I can't see it, it's like what's in front of them comes through. And what that is there's, when we connect, there's a sense of sometimes that remote viewing. And so we can get very bogged down sometimes by all of these different definitions, but we can also set the intention of wanting to attune to a certain moment in time, to attune to a certain crash, a certain experience, and yes, connect to the energy of that space. We can remote view, walk in, see what those people were experiencing it or how they were experiencing it, almost as if it's like a movie being played back. And so they were definitely training agents. You've done the research to do this, and they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, it's like we think that we're going to walk outside and see Agent 009 sitting across with his binoculars.
Yeah.
But actually Agent 0010 is sitting in a room with his lights off watching me. You get what I'm saying? And here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's why, it feels, listen, there are some experiences that I had an experience when I was young. I think you and I have spoken about it. I know I've spoken about it on my podcast and on Billy's, but I had an experience when I was a little girl. And, there are moments where maybe you have felt watched throughout your lifetime.
Listen, I'm writing this down right now about discussing that next. But go ahead. Yeah, we on the same point.
Here we are. And my experience, I have clients all the time who are so excited and ecstatic about the experiences they've had, whether it was, an extraterrestrial type experience, some sort of like abduction or anything like that. I can tell you that the experience that I had was not something that I've only literally been comfortable talking about in the last literally 2 years. I've been doing this work for 20 years, but because it felt so, it didn't feel good. you know? And so have they been tuning into people for many, many years, for a lifetime? Have they known of certain gifts and abilities in certain people? Yeah, I think for sure. Have children been put in gifted programs to be able to watch and for them to keep track? Yeah, I think so. It's pretty crazy.
See, that goes back to, now will take us in the middle of not conspiracy, but religiously now, where, you know, we tend to
keep talking. I've got to let my dog in.
All right. So we tend to think that somebody, you know how kids are told Santa Claus is watching you to be good or bad, you know, or God is always watching us. And so we all have this self-governing program running, so to speak, where I better not do that. Even ain't nobody in this room. And I'm going to bite that apple, but I feel convicted not to bite the apple because God is watching me or somebody's watching me. Is it maybe somebody's remote viewing you, like the movie Deja Vu, and you can feel, remember in the movie, the lady felt that they were watching her. And she was like, hello? And how many of us have gotten that feeling, right? And you're just like, okay. And then you either done something you didn't want to do, or you've done some things, or is there any secrets anymore? Do I not have a secret? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And having said that feeling, could there be just people and things that are just right now walking around, or maybe we're just not in that vibration and we move over into those timelines or whatever, and now we're just either not so much trapped there, but it's just another reality. It's like, let me just move over there.
We got your favorite puppy, Roderick, right here.
There he is. There he is.
Oh, I'm like, we're on Roderick's podcast, so we can bring you on tonight. Listen. Now, see, my protective bubble, there are many people that think that the connection's really cool and amazing. And I think there's some, just like there's good energy, spiritually, there's not so good energy, you know, and extraterrestrial wise and all of that as well. And so I think that as far as the remote viewing or people being able to kind of be witnessing what's going on within our homes, our lives, all of it, that protective bubble, I believe, shields me. We have to know, like we know, without a shadow of a doubt, that we are protected in the light. And when I'm protected, there's nothing getting in. And listen, I just have to believe it, know it. That's how it is. And so I think that you've got to come from a place that you're the boss, and that's the way it is. Now, I saw somebody earlier say, let me see here. Speaking of, let's see here, where was it? They said, so these beings are not our friends. They take us at will without our consent. They paralyze you and do examinations and insert probes and devices in you. Please don't be fooled, mostly at AM hours. So what that person said was very similar to my experiences, how I had. Have we talked about this, Roderick?
No, let's go. You want to talk about it? You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's a session. I mean, I can act as you, and then we can do a session.
You can just tell me all about it. Thank you, Roderick.
Yeah.
And so it was a story that I didn't share with anybody. My twin sister was there, my mother, my father was out of town, and I was sleeping on my dad's side of the bed. And he was out of town again working. We'd had anybody eat butter and crackers. So we'd had like saltines, had the butter knife, and we had been eating it in bed. And I had that on the nightstand. I woke up, but had sleep like paralysis. I couldn't move and was paralyzed. But I saw this entity, and he walked. I used to call him this little glowing green midget, is what I just, excuse my language, but that's how in my little girl mind I was I think younger than my 9-year-old. I can't remember exactly my age, but I was young. And this energy looked at me the whole entire time. And I've always said he, but whatever this was, walked so slowly down the side of my mother's bed. She never woke. My twin
Wow.
sister was in the middle. She never woke up. Nobody ever, I wasn't able to scream. Which was like, my eyebrows were up. I was like startled. I was freaking out, but still could not move. And this energy floated. I mean, it just was gliding across the floor ever so slowly, all the way down to the edge of that bed, coming up. And all I remembered at that point was he grabbed the knife and he stabbed me in the leg. And all of a sudden, as soon as he touched that knife to my knee, it was right under my knee, I fell to the floor and I was able to scream. He was gone immediately. My mother woke up because she was hearing me scream, my twin sister, and I was bleeding. And so she picked me up, took me to the bathroom, and they were like, "Oh, you had a bad dream." That, they were just, trying to, whatever. My twin sister made fun of me my entire life. And it was one of those where I like, don't, like, every time she'd try it, like, don't stop, like, don't do that. And every time I spoke about it, I almost couldn't talk about it, even up to probably the last year and a half, without being really emotionally affected by it. But it
Wow.
scared the hell out of me. But there was a documentary that came out, and I've studied this stuff my entire life. There was a psychologist who's passed now. He was from like the New York City area, or like up over there somewhere. And he did a lot of hypnotizing people who had, experiences with abductions or close encounters, things like that. And I would listen to this, and I was fascinated, because I thought, I was just so curious what in the world this was, right? Although I think I felt like I knew what it was. Now, it was during COVID or right before COVID, during COVID, that there was a documentary that came out. I think, Roderick, I swear we've talked about this, but it was called Patient 17. Patient
No,
17.
we
Have
haven't.
you seen it? Yeah. And it was, I can't remember his name, Jeremy something. He's been on Joe Rogan quite a bit, but I had never heard of him from this point. But he was a documentary maker, producer, and this guy had this experience. And the way this man shares, the way you see the energy in his face, this isn't funny to him. It's not exciting to him. This was a traumatic. Jeremy Corbell, thank you. Thank you, in Walters. That's right. This was traumatizing. This man, that same energy was exactly how I felt. And in that show, he had a very similar story. It sounded just very similar to mine. And they started to check his leg. He kept feeling like something was underneath his knee. And when they showed the place that this object, he had an implant, and in his leg, the place that he showed the object was exactly where my cut was. And I saw that and was like, what the, what? And so that has been a subject that, yes, I do what I do. Yes, I connect. Yes, I help people actually with that. But my own experience, it was traumatizing, and is traumatizing. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think it would be, again, like you say, it's traumatizing, and hearing those stories, and they all are similar. People are not just making this stuff up, right?
No.
And coincidence, we want to say on a spiritual note, is God's way of being anonymous. At least I think so.
Yeah.
When we want to go there with the government, why, like you said, they want to keep the power from us, to do this. But what other harm that could be done, that, if they're able to get into our consciousness or tap into this other world, what could they be doing that we don't know is happening?
Yeah. Well, and is that a government something posing as something different? That's the thing. It definitely felt dark. It did not feel like, oh, warm and fuzzy, like some people experience. It didn't leave me curious. It left me not speaking about it for, hello, I've been doing this work that I do for 20 years. I've only shared that story in the last maybe 2. And so it's something that I don't, it's a startling thing. And so we can feel, many people, and you talk about this, you share this with, you get lots of calls where people have had their different stories and they're afraid to come out because of them. And that I understand. And I was even doing this work. And so it definitely doesn't feel all exciting to have had the experience, had an experience like this. But the government does know about it. They have been, I think, trying to create their own bases. Of course, they've done that, and their own team of intuitive psychics, whatever you want to call it. They're still, the more we know nothing. So they're diving into all of it.
So I watch enough TV, and I guess I'm just now getting answers that I've always. What's an oracle?
So I have a couple of clients that actually call me an oracle, which
Okay.
And so an oracle is one that is, I would say, that is all knowing. I don't call myself that, but I've had people refer to me as that. An oracle is one that, to me, kind of you can go to, and they essentially have direct connection to all, and so that's the way I see the definition of an oracle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just asked. I was thinking of well, I forget which movie, but anyway,
I know that movie.
Matrix. Not the Matrix. Well, that one too.
Okay.
But this one was when Zeus was coming down visiting the young dude, watching him grow into a warrior, but Zeus will fake like he was an old man, just teaching him, but he really was getting him to fight or whatever. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. So a little more conspiracy now. Let's go there.
Yeah, let's do it.
We have this thing. So now we have religion. We have the Pope, and I'm just using the Vatican and all of their secrets. We have the government in that secrets. Now, like I said, you were able to feel and sense these other. I guess would I use the word apparition? That's not what I would say, right? No.
I mean, an apparition, I can't speak, is, when an energy forms and takes shape. So, I mean, sometimes they can use their energy to come to you as an apparition. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when we think about all of this, and again, but it's all, I'm starting to study that is all leading back to reptilians. You ever seen any? And not have you seen any, but have you tapped into something and something says, you don't belong here, get out?
I have not been well, you know what? The only time, no, and that's a whole nother topic. So I'm not going to even open that door with the two of us, right? I've been like, nope, skirt, where it's like, that's done. That's a whole nother podcast.
Okay, gotcha.
But as far as reptilian, I've literally been following this topic for, 25 years. I'm 47 now. I definitely feel like it's so interesting, the different blood types. Do I think that there's a reptilian race kind of running the show? I kind of think so, maybe. And so,
I think we both were fans of David Icke. He says that is just what's going on.
It's just what's going on. That's correct. And we're not told a lot because they really don't believe that we can handle it, right?
Right.
And so if they showed us their form, would everything collapse? Yeah. And they're making too much money on it. So that's why they don't allow themselves to be seen very often. Who's the guy? There's the guy off of Smashing Pumpkins. I can't remember his name. The lead singer. Have you heard this?
Smashing Pumpkins? Do they rap? Because they don't rap. I don't know.
No, the 90s band, Roderick? What in the
Smashing Who would name their
What?
band Smashing Pumpkins anyway?
Okay,
Not in my neighborhood, not where I grew up at.
Okay, well, maybe not in your neighborhood, but in 1994, just kidding. So everybody give me, hands up. You've heard of Smashing Pumpkins. Now, come on.
You're going to be the only one. I guarantee you, unless somebody just trying to unless they're just trying to get some attention, they're going to say, yeah, but.
That's not true. Northern Downpour. I know you know who's. Yeah, Billy Corgan. See, Tina. Thank you, Tina.
Okay.
That's hilarious. So he had an experience with. It was a woman. I believe the story was that it was a woman. I think he was sharing this on Howard Stern or something like that. He was sharing this experience where, it was a reptilian who. This woman shapeshifted right in front of him, and it freaked him out. And so very often, many of these reptilian races, they're in very high places of high status, right? Whether that's celebrity or it's, Hollywood, it is government, it is in all of these different places. It's in religion. Actually,
see, I said that before you came on. I was telling the audience, I said, if they were, what alien or reptilian who can shapeshift would want to go be the bum under the street? It just makes sense that they will come and be famous so you can live the life of the high society, or whatever they're trying to become.
Think of the movie that they're pushing again. Have you? Maybe you haven't seen it, but Death Becomes Her with Meryl Streep, and the original had Meryl Streep, and it had Goldie Hawn in it. Roderick, go watch that. That's your homework. That's everybody's homework. But
Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn, back in the day. This is an old movie. Anderson and I just watched it last week, and they're doing a remake of it. And I think her Goldie's daughter is going to be in it. But that's telling a story. It's telling a story. And if you watch this, guys, these things they put in plain sight for us. They do. They show us what they're doing, and technically, I think that they have to. Right? That's kind of part of their shtick, is they have to put it out there. That's why they speak through symbols, and music, even. Right.
Right. Well, yeah, music. Yeah.
Music. If you watch that, they're changing form. They're taking. If you watch the movie, I don't even want to say what it is because we'll get.
Ethan said the Shalites. I had a guy. I don't know, Ethan, you might want to go back and look at one of my older videos. I had this guy named Darren. He was the son of one of the main Shalites, and he talks about reptilians. He talks about his family, the Jackson 5, and how they was eating rats. I did a live interview. It's on the channel.
Roderick, we need to pause, and I need you to run through those comments so you can see how many people know who Smashing Pumpkins are.
Smashing Pumpkins. Let me see.
Looky there. Everybody's like, yep, yes, yes.
Courtney, but there's one X Factor.
Damon knows who they are. Dr. Strange, I love that band. RN Diva says, yes, I know. See?
Well, see.
Haha.
Strange Pumpkins. Who would name? Who would walk
Smashing Pumpkins.
Who would say, where are we going tonight? We're going to go listen to Smashing Pumpkins.
Listen, I'm going to go buy you a t-shirt. You're going to wear this for me.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if I said I'm getting ready to go listen to, I at the, what? It was kind of funny because I was at the YouTube conference yesterday and he was talking about KISS, the group. And somebody was like, yeah, KISS. And he says, I wonder what that stands for, like keeping it stupid. And I was like, not even close, dude. He was on stage. But I'm just saying, I don't know how it got from there from Smashing Pumpkins, but maybe I'm putting it in the same category. I'm not telling somebody I'm going to go watch Smashing Pumpkins tonight.
Smashing Pumpkins was like grunge, a grunge band. So I'm a baby or not a baby of the 90s, but I graduated in the 90s. And so.
See, I came out in 80. I came out in 88. So we were not there yet. We were just finishing the era of punk rock and rapping and pop locking and doing,
Listen, do you remember the movie Breakin'? It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, but that was on the tail end of everything. Breakdancing and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But that was it. But I do remember the movie Poltergeist. How real was that?
So that movie scared the you know what about me. If you want to get into conspiracy, we should talk about that movie and what happened to Carrie and that little girl.
She died for real, right?
Well, she did die for real, but do you know the story behind her death? Roderick,
Let's
that's
go
an
with it.
episode. No,
Oh,
that's a whole episode because I need to
okay.
give you names and all of that. But we need to write that down, and that's a whole entire episode because we can go all day on that one.
Poltergeist, right?
But Poltergeist. But that movie, I believe it was actually based on a true story. So you know, I used to ghost hunt, right? You know that I used to. Did
You mentioned that, but you never told me about finding any ghosts. But so,
oh yeah. Well, I've lived, all of the houses I ever lived in always felt as though they were haunted, but it wasn't because necessarily that they were. One of them I know for sure was, but it was more so that they could see that I was connected. And so I felt it all. And so I've known that as a healed adult. Now I walk around protected, so I don't connect to that lower grade energy any longer. And so, so you can have a choice in that, by the way, my friends. I don't do that anymore because you can invite things into your home. You can't, if you leave it open. And if you have children, my oldest, she's now 27, but she was, you know, it was 20 something years ago. And once I realized, okay, again, the more we know nothing. Not cool. It's just not something I would really encourage.
right.
Sometimes look at the lives of some of the people that really are doing a lot of that work. They age more quickly. You can tell the energy that they're connecting to. It's not always good. So I just personally don't really encourage it. But that movie was 100% real. Were there things that they, you know, inflamed for sure, but that I do believe it.
See, that's just kind of like, and as we talked about earlier, you know, Hollywood, they just don't make this stuff up, you know, when we talk about life on the other side. But the other part that baffled me the most, and this is the psychic side, and we'll go back to the conspiracy side, is why is it that someone today that is 70 years old said that they had a dream and they saw their sister who left this place at 6, and they didn't see their sister with gray hair like they was. They still saw a 6-year-old. You get what I'm saying? It's like, what, time doesn't move, or in wearing set of clothes or time, but yet, so how do they know they wasn't just having a nightmare or a dream, or was it true? You get what I'm saying?
I do. I know. I believe that's a really great place to collect that data. Like, I believe that that's a great starting spot where, you know, many of us have had those dreams, those premonitions. We feel like it might be something, but yet we want proof. And I'm all about wanting proof and to at least learn how to validate my own knowing. And so I don't think we should always jump on the hunch that, oh my gosh, I think this is it, and go into the drama of the connection, by the way. But I think that in time, if you really start to validate your own knowing by asking yourself first, am I making this up? Like, am I crazy? I've always asked myself first.
Right.
If you start to document it and you write down even the Cliff Note version of these experiences, you're going to take the drama out of it and you're just writing down the facts. And in time, you're going to be able to start to feel what truth feels like in your body. You're going to start to feel like, how does this feel to me? You're going to be your own filter, your own barometer, but it takes being healthy and not, oh my gosh, this is it. And I'm not a psychic that's going to get you into the drama of things. I don't think that's always healthy. We want to look at it with, like, we want to try to debunk any of it. And I think that that's actually what makes me good, is because we want to know, like we know that we're truly connected. As far as like having dreams in the later part of our life or any part, and we have that loved one come to us, I always believe I believe that's their essence. And I think the reason they show themselves to you, if she showed her older self to, say, the grandmother, whomever it was that you were just talking about.
Right.
she didn't really know her in that time. So she knew her at that younger age. It doesn't mean that that person on the other side stays that age, but they will come to visit in the form that you would have recognized them in, or in their happiest form.
Well, that goes back to, now if we start talking about entities and all that, then wouldn't a smart negative entity knows that that's how they will infiltrate you too? It's like,
Yep.
we're just going to go look like such and such, who they remember.
So this is why, Roger, this is such a great conversation. This is why being healthy is so essential. It is why we don't just connect to anything. It is why, very often I'll have clients say, oh, I feel this in my house. It's a little girl, or it's a little this, but it's okay. It's just a little. And as soon as they say that, I'm like,
Oh,
no,
no, you better not. Yeah.
no, you zip that up, you bubble up, you protect that home, your energy, whatever, and cut it out, because they will, especially, this is a thing too, guys. If we're unhealthy emotionally, if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're drinking too much, think of what do they call alcohol? Spirits.
I would say liquid courage.
Yeah, liquid courage and spirits, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so you're kind of, and listen, I have a drink every once in a while, but when I lived in that home where that could be a whole nother darn podcast of the experiences that were happening just in that one home I lived in. But I was drinking a lot. It was my very early mid 20s, going through a really kind of hard time, as you do, just trying to find yourself. And I was drinking a lot during that time. And the paranormal activity that was happening in my home was off the charts. And it's because you're inviting that kind of energy into your space. And so, yeah, you've got to look at that. You've got to look at that when you're having little things like that happen.
Yeah, because we did a show on sleep paralysis, and you get a lot of people like, nah, I never felt nobody trying to sexually assault me, but I have. You know what I'm saying? You're like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you never know, but at this point it seems real enough that something is keeping you from moving, something is trying to corral you, or whatever you want to use it. And it's like, what is really happening,
Ooh, English teacher Leon just asked a question. Can watching horror or scary movies bring you bad vibes, bad energy, etc.? Yeah. I don't even want to say it. Listen, I lived a lifetime loving scary movies. I don't watch them any longer. I think that you can, you can protect your home if you just clear it, even with your breath. I'm not a believer that you have to buy something to do those things, though. I mean, I do. I mean, I have a massive bundle of sage here. Do I sage all the time? No. I've got Palo Santo. Do I do that all the time? No, because I'm protected. My home is clean. That's the way it is. But yes, those things can bring things in. But you just said something, Roderick, that hit me. Oh, you talked about being kind of sexually assaulted as you're sleeping. I mean, that's a real thing. I had a client a few years ago and there's a name for it, this certain female energy. I don't say names, by the way. Often I don't use those words, because when you use the words, you give it power, by the way.
Yeah, we used to be in the mirror, Candyman, 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 and everybody take off running,
Yes, in Starseed, there you go. And so her fiance or husband was having this energy, and their home, it was kind of riddled, and it was just really, it was only bothering him, but they could all feel it, and it was almost keeping her out. It was really interesting. And so we went in and checked it out. I don't normally do this, but this is it was a family friend and a longtime client. So I did that for her. But I also called a team who I trust to come in and help take care of this. And so they did, and they never had any issues again. However, he was having such a alcohol problem that I would say it was a true problem. Now he has since gained help, and he's on the other end of that, thank goodness. But it was when we're in moments like that, we can really be inviting dark stuff that we don't really know anything about. But yes,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, I mean, but that goes back to, if that's the case, the government and all these religious institutions, because they're starting to say this now. They're starting to say that it's more than just aliens now. They're starting to report that it could be demonic, it could be,
Uh,
or, you know, whatever entities or energies from other areas. Now, there are people saying not all of them are bad. There are good ones and there's bad ones. And, or we, you know, opening up those portals or wherever they're, however they're able to move from side to side. We can't do it, but they were able to do it, right?
So, yeah, and you know, this is the thing too, when people start to awaken or they start to realize that, oh my gosh, I've got gifts and this is so much fun. Yes, it can be really cool to realize that there's so much more out there, but to me, it holds also a lot of responsibility.
Mm.
And I remember, and during that, you know, my entire life, I would wake up to feel it getting touched, or walking throughout the home. I grew up in a really, it was a large but old home. And so the stairs creaked. So there was a little bit of a spooky feeling anyway. But if I was ever left alone in the house, it's like I could feel the history of that place. Oh my gosh, it just scared me to death. And it's one of those things where if you're not protecting your energy,
Mm.
you are essentially kind of inviting it in. And so when when people are really curious, I hear clients all the time are like, no, I don't want to shut it down. It's okay. I want it. And so what you'll find is you'll have energy that does not have good intention try to wake you up. You could have also your guides and angels be waking you up. You could have even your loved ones on the other side waking you up. I don't allow that. I don't touch me, don't connect with me in that way. And you can shut that down. It doesn't mean that you shut down your gifts altogether, by the way.
Mm.
But so many people are afraid to create boundaries because they're afraid they're going to lose their gifts altogether.
Right. Okay. So even in a UFO space, they say that I'm going to keep using reptilians,
Yeah.
because I'm running across a lot of that in the research now as I'm doing symbolism. In matter of fact, let me make sure I write this word down so I come back to this in just a second, because this is open advice time.
Mm-hmm.
So they do say that the reptilians or whatever these entities are keeping us at, you know, war and all of these things, because they feed from negativity or negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
But what constitutes, so let's say it like this: energy, we know, is at different level, vibrations is at different frequencies. We know the if I talk to a person over here and say this color is, or in the middle is black and we got white, at some point there's thousands of shades of black, and it becomes gray to that person, but still black to this person, and everything else. So where is that frequency of negativity begins to what they're feeding off of, when we just think it's war, but it could be just me thinking negative about taking out the trash. I'm just throwing some stupid stuff out there, but you get what I'm saying. And even in life, as we are walking around, you know, there have to be a level or frequency of negativity that it begins to turn the dial and say, now you are negative, versus us thinking negative is just because I went off on somebody. You get what I'm saying?
Well, listen, like attracts like.
Okay.
What are we looking for? And that's science, right? So we're gonna get what we expect to get, right? If nothing changes, nothing changes. It actually will just intensify. So that's why I am super protective of my energy. I mean, Roderick, you know, when we're all together, I'm not walking up to people and saying, let me tell you about you. I'm not open and
Yeah.
fill the entire room. But that's because I really value my light, but I also value your light. So when we're in such an open space like that, you're just inviting whatever walks through to kind of connect. And so I think we have to really value our our connection to spirit. And listen, the government's doing crazy stuff with opening or turning on that CERN, you know, thing, and doing they're looking for these different things to bring through. Now, who's watched Stranger Things, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Now and I've seen that instead of the pumpkin. Someone else said I
Yeah.
should have remembered the pumpkin smashing people.
Thank you,
If I
everybody.
watched American Pie and let him watch American Pie, he'll remember smashing the pumpkins.
Well, so what I'm telling you is, I don't even remember what I was telling you. I
See,
just
okay. Well, then until it comes back,
boom.
you talked about me and my new journey, and I was going to make the announcement to my audience later on tonight, but earlier tonight, you know, that I'm going to be taking a few weeks off. They're not going to see me for a few weeks. I have to go through this new transformation of thought and things, but also working on new content, right, for symbolism. You know, I'm planning on visiting some cemeteries, looking at people who have these symbols on their tombstones, giving messages from the dead, from the other side. What should I protect myself from? Making sure I don't walk out of there and they're going with me and saying, "Oh yeah, you got a symbol with you, brother." But you know, I do my sacred, you know, protection. But
Yeah. There's no antagonizing. So you don't want to be you want to be respectful. There's no antagonizing the energies. There's no riling anything up. I don't think that you've got that in you.
yeah.
But I think that you knowing what you carry within your spirit as you go, and you know what you're carrying as you leave. I'm a firm believer that we also don't have to carry anything with us, but if you have something that will act as an amulet, so whether that be a cross or you know, I have a stone, or I did have a stone, some sort of like a small stone with you, there you go. So that can be your thing that but I would pray with that, like, is it a rosary or it's a mala?
Yeah, it's a crystal, it's a mala. So I was going to ask Judith, you know, will this protect me? I know we talked about transformation, we talked about protection, and someone made this for me.
Yep.
It's a tiger eye, it's crystal, jade, and all that. And every now and then I'll put it out in the sun to make sure it recharges.
Yeah.
But I need to call her tomorrow because I want to make sure when I'm out there, because I have the bracelet. But these are crystals, you know.
So those are great. Now you said something, and you asked, will this? You've got to know that it just simply will. There's no question.
Right.
I would place it also under your pillow. You know, sleeping with those things is a really good thing to just keep it within your energy. I have many malas that I love.
She said that's a protected mala. So she made it. She said it was built on protection.
Yeah. I love Judith, by the way. You're so precious. I love you. Yeah. And so using that, so use that when you're meditating or you're praying. Do you know how to move through the mala? If you don't, I will.
I count one at a time, right?
Don't use this finger, not for fear, but this, you know, when we're talking or we're angry or we're mad, they say, I don't know who they are, but you know, this finger, when you're doing the mala, this diffuses, or it's like firing energy or firing.
Hang on one second.
Yep. I love it.
Okay, so how do I sort of using it?
Okay, let's see it. So you move through it. I wish I had one of mine with me. I don't.
All right, I have it. I did put it on my.
So good. You move through it. You hold it within your hands, and you just move through.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you hold it like this, right?
I can't see.
I'm sorry, my bad.
Yes. Okay, but don't hold it within your thumb and that second finger, not the first finger.
The second finger, okay.
And so lift that other finger up. Yes. And so you just move it with your thumb.
Oh,
so
okay.
You're saying like a mantra, like a peace begins with me, and then the next.
And then 100, say it 108 times. Yeah.
Yep, you got it.
Okay.
Yep. But we don't move through it with that pointer finger.
Okay, gotcha.
Yay.
All right. Well, there we go. Because I definitely uses it, and at night, but sometimes I fall asleep by the time I get there. But
Yeah.
Sometimes I make it through, all the way to the other side. And
Are you laying down?
No, well, I've done that before, and that just don't work. Period. You just go to
Yeah.
sleep, but it's a great way to go to sleep.
Yeah.
But I sit up now and do it because all of this stuff is just kind of in your face now that you have to know there's a higher force at work. You just know this, and you do that. So
there is a spiritual war going on. I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing right now. And I think that it's just light and dark. It's not, I don't see it as a person or whatever. It's just simply light or dark. And all you can worry about, all I can worry about, all we all can worry about is ourselves, and that's it, Yeah.
Someone said, I'm not going to hold you too much longer because I know you have to get. But if you want to stay longer, it's up to you.
Nope. I'm getting it. So let's see.
Yeah. Well, I felt it. I felt the message that you sent.
You did energetically. We're supposed to be protected by the Holy Spirit of, yes, before we go into the spirit realm. Is that wrong? That no other protection is as powerful as the blood of Yeshua? Yeah, I agree. I think we call on, I just got chills even as I read it. So I'm a firm believer that if, I have some clients who were raised, Christian, but say were sexually abused by their deacon grandfather, who really struggle with calling it what they were taught within the church, where they were receiving the trauma that they received. Okay. So when I connect, I say God, source, light, universe, because it's whatever you call that, you do that. And I'm a firm believer in that. For me, I know what I call it, and that's what I connect with. But I'm not telling the person who was raised in another country who's actually connecting to God, because the semantics don't quite match up, and so I'm a firm believer that you connect to that highest form of energy. And when you do that, and like nobody can shake you. You've got this. You're connected. Roderick, I love you, my friend. Guys, I love you all.
All right, y'all. We will see you all, and we'll see you. And I'll give you. Oh, so are we talking tomorrow? Or did you say Saturday?
Yeah, we're talking tomorrow. Yeah, I have a group. I had a group tonight. I had sessions all day. It was beautiful. I still have paint on my hands.
Okay.
And I have a group tomorrow at 10:30 with a group of wonderful women, and then I'll be done. And so tomorrow afternoon, I'll give you a call, and we will chit chat about all the new beautiful things that are coming in.
Yes, and let's do that. All right, love you, and Ethan, you're the man, and we will talk. And tell my little friend to have a good night.
I will tell her. She will be so thrilled. Bye, guys. I love you all. Bye, Roderick. I'll see you later.
All right, bye-bye. All right, y'all, that was the greatness of my sister Courtney there. And, we talk all the time, every day just about. And, but it is just so wonderful because sometimes she'll just pause and say, hey, I got something I want to share with you. And, just give me some insight of life. And then, of course, I discuss things with her, and we just throw things left and right and up and down, and just some great conversations and love and friendship that we've built over the years. And she's as real as it gets, not just as a person and an individual, but if you want someone to really, truly guide you through some of these areas, reach out to her. Reach out to her because she does reading. She does, not just normal stuff. I mean, she'll paint. You would get a painting of your loved ones that's watching over you, and the color is just the experience is so unique that the confirmation of what she says and does is just really, truly a lovable thing. And I will tell people to do it. And definitely y'all need to check out her membership, $11.11. But anybody who's a member get half off of the other stuff, right? When you want some, and it's not a marketing thing. I would just tell them today, hey, listen, that is big. You're doing some big things, but just having an advisor, okay, such as her in your repertoire of life, from business, personal, and why not access the cosmos to this life that we have. And if there's gifted people like her out there, I just think it's a beautiful thing. So I love her to death, and I will put her side by side among the Miss Cleos of the world, 1-900, I'm Inga, to whoever, that she stands to be the realest one that I've ever known. And I've met many too, right? I'm not saying other ones are not gifted, but she is real. All right. So having said that, I plan on, just letting you know, we'll get ready to get out of here now. I plan on taking some time off. I went to the YouTube conference again, Vid Summit. And every year, this is my second year. Last year, I came with some life-changing information and people. And there was relationships that I met last year that I was supposed to keep this year that will be pretty good to maintain. And we'll just rekindle of, hey, man, we all need to stick together and do some things. And so I'm formulating that. But I'm also realizing the direction I wanted to take us in our content and everything else. And to do that requires me to go into not only a meditative state, but informational state to learn some tactics and things. And so I want to come back with a fresh way of doing things, content for you all, the way we're going to present ourselves, especially going down this road of symbols and secret societies, as well as the secrets. Truth versus authority is the wave of where we're going to go. And so definitely I'm planning on doing that. And another way to support the show and what we're doing, I have to make some changes of how I go by doing what we do, because we're getting outpaced, we're getting outviewed, we're getting out everything. And partly everything rises and falls on leadership, because that's me. I'm leading this channel, what I do. And so there are some things that I need to do different, things I need to present differently to get us a bigger audience and things, so that the YouTube partner program begins to compensate us for the challenges and going out, getting better people to talk to. And because these people are doing it, there's people out there that they have the budget. I'm watching these people hiring editors and paying people $3,000 a week and just to do things. And they're hiring the best of visual components. They're hiring the best of writers and people they're building huge teams. And these people got following. They're getting hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, and the views are equating to a budget that they're able to build and give more to the community. I have to get down and figure out what I need to do different, but also in a way that it's good for me, good for you, but give us a different perspective, but also give the viewers more and more, because, we have a small community, but at the same time, there's not, although I'm appreciative of everybody who gives 1 penny to what we do, but to raise the ante, we have to do some things to do. Now, I'm fortunate that there's some other stuff coming on the back end that I've always been harping that we're getting closer and closer, but I'm not in control of that. I'm finding out the hard way that I'm just on everybody else's time, but it's happening. I'm just on everybody else's time, and therefore we have to do. So basically, there's things I need to do more on social media, learn more, post more, like Factor is saying, clips. I get it. And get some more help on that. But I'd rather find the funds to pay people that it's a job. This is what they do. And therefore it is reciprocated. I appreciate all the volunteers that we have. And when we do get our bread, there's some people out there who I'm going, hey, come on board, let's roll, and who's been with me a long time. But I think that in the meantime, that it's more obvious that people come and go, supporters come and go, people come and go, right? And that's fine, and they come back. But in order for us to stay like a church where our door is always open, we got to find better ways. And the better way to do that is to get you shareable content. Get content so good that you're going to share it. You're going to not just like it, you're going to clip it, and you're going to put it on social medias too. You're going to show friends, hey, go listen to this. This is with some truth. This will help you. Put all of that content in place, that I am shareable, I am notable, and to go viral enough that this thing exponentially grows. And so to do that is to take it to the next level. So I've learned a lot this past week when I was at the conference, made some tremendous contacts, but also met a tremendous group of people that are highly focused on this content creator business of world. And I need to really download or offload everything that I learned. And it's going to maybe cost a little bit to sit down for a week or two, test some stuff that I wanted to do, some things that I'm going to do. But I promise to God for you and to God for you is that when I do come out with what I'm getting ready to do, that I've been writing and working down the new trademarks and all of that stuff, we're not going to look back. We're not going to look back. And so we're there. And pretty much, I wish I can say that I'm not going to go out and hold a sign up that we'll work for food. Nobody's going to give it to me because they're going to be like, why would we want to contribute to your, your body type, and you want to work for food. So I can't do that. I can't go on the corner and hold a sign that we'll work for food. They're not going to feed me. They mean like, you done had enough to eat. People are that cruel. They're not going to do that. Or, or come watch me on YouTube and you won't be disappointed. That's what the sign is going to say. Well, I love y'all. I love each and every one of you. I love what I do. I tremendously love what I do. And I will say to any one of you, if you have a voice or you have something, a thought, you're not, it might be a stretch to get behind that camera. But I watch people that were there last year that started their quest on podcasting and YouTube, and they're bigger than they was, and they're fulfilled, and they know that they're doing something that they can love to do. And in spite of AI, in spite of all of this stuff that is happening in the world of corporate that we think, they cannot replace the real connection of community. AI will never be able to do that. Okay. And so this is where they are, and pretty much. And are you okay with population questioning? I don't even know what that means. Or I don't know. I know what a population is, but I don't know those two together. Kim, so you might want to clarify that for me in a little better. We love you. We greatly, hey, I appreciate it. Great work. Yeah. And so it is a journey. It is something that I want to do, and pretty much, it's I love it, but I also love the energy that the people that were there, that was on stage, people that was walking in the room, that were content creators and doing this love of what we do, where somebody won't say you talk too much, or you just want to hear yourself talk, or somebody, and you get paid to talk, right? You get paid to do what you do, right? And it's a crazy world out there, but and the funny part about it, everyone that told their stories, they all talked about being by themselves, going on this journey. And I just was blown away of so many people that have millions of followers. But when they got off that camera, that was it. And I experience that a lot now, right? So, but to say that you enjoy what you do and do it, so I got to get out of my comfort zone, and I'm highly confident in some areas, but I got to get out of my comfort zone to do what I'm about to do next. I'm gonna have to stretch it to the limit. I have to put some stuff, put effort into some areas, increase my work ethics, increase my scheduling, my time, my health, my intake, my nutrition, my brain food, my outlook, my reading, my interpretation, my studying habits, and I got to push everything past wherever it is and double, triple it, and 10x it to push over this last ledge. Not only so I can help others, but to prove the way. And I appreciate it. Yes, I will have this, and I believe in it. I'm not saying none of that. I just know that I have no more excuses. I got all the pieces and the components and some equipment, maybe some technical stuff, business-wise, I still need to get done for stuff that's coming. But technicality-wise, or equipment wise, or I have all of my excuses was eliminated yesterday. I got the final piece to what I needed, and now it's time to do it. But you all are going to experience. So I don't know if I still got to do some stuff on Forbidden Knowledge on Tuesday, because that's how I make some money, because I get, ad revenue share. So that's why I do the Tuesday night podcast. So I can't step back from that unless I do some pre-recorded stuff. So I may do that. But September the 10th, and I still may just hop on Fridays to give you kind of updates. It's going to hurt the channel a little bit if y'all not watching or sharing it for this 2 or 3 weeks in the algorithm of me stepping back, which is something I don't need. But when I come back full effect, we will do what we're doing. So tomorrow's the first day of me testing the challenges and things that we're the new way of doing things. But we're going to focus more on some symbolism. It's going to be great. It's going to, like I say, take us on a journey. And we would do that. Ethan says, I'm proud of you. Nicole says, I'm excited. Yes, we're good to go. Man, that little mouse has been, just get out of here. You know what I'm saying? And he's bold too, man. He's like really bold. He's a big mouse though. He's big for a mouse. He might be a baby rat or something, but I think he's a big mouse though. He's not gonna survive. When I get ready to leave, I'm gonna put, since I see his little path, I'm gonna put the stuff that I have in the other room that is lethal as they can get out, but it tastes really good. He's gonna enjoy it. He's gonna be like, oh, I found a feast. But he's going to he's gonna be in trouble, because this is I paid extra, so this is like a 1 day, less than 40 hour, whack job, Yeah, I hate it for him, because he could, if he don't just fall out in the right place where I can get a hold to him, he might just pay me back and go into the wall, and then now I have a couple of days of sorrowness. But they'll do that to you. But I get them. It's that time of the year when it gets too hot, they come inside and everything else. All right. Anyone else got anything you want to say? Make sure the dog doesn't get into. Oh yeah. That's why I put it behind like these little crevices in the wall. He can't get behind the shelving, nothing. So I just pour it in her pathways or whatever. She's had a disrespectful mouth the other day. I know, right? He's pretty big. The fear is that he's not a mouse. He's a baby, Godzilla or something. And he got brothers and sisters. But then that means I want his parents. I really want his parents. And I want them out. I want them taken out, period. Mom, dad. I'm going to take out his family, his cousins. The whole generation. I'm going to take them all out. They all are going down. They're going down. And he's big. He's pretty big. And he could be bigger than a mouse. And if he's a baby, bigger thing, then yeah, I'm going all in tonight. But I got him. He's going to have a good night. He's going to have a feast. I'm going to put the bird music on over there. I'm going to draw him in. Seductive, like the siren in that Starbucks cup, I was telling y'all about. I'm going to draw him in. And he's going to come in. He's going to be like, food is just here. He's going to be like, the spirit gods are real. I was hunting for food and it's just right here. He's going to be so happy. Yeah. And I'm telling you, he could be a baby rat. If he's a baby rat, I know I'm going to get him. Because he's pretty big, but he's bigger than a normal mouse. He could be a Dumbo mouse, right? But if he's a baby rat, then I know we are going in for the kill. But so far, he's small as a mouse. But he's bold. He's been bothering me the whole show. So, y'all talking about the electric things. Wood rat. If he's a wood rat, either way, the stuff is lethal for anything up to, breathing size. If he can breathe, he can eat, he's going to go. And I'm going to make sure he eat. Like I said, I'm going to put it in his path. Judas, I had a spider yesterday and I lost it. You're looking around like I was. Yeah, he called me. I'll go. How they just catch you because they're moving in the center of your eye, right? Or catching it, and you go like, maybe that's my predator eyes. eagle eyes, and I can like, but I'm not nervous about him, and he obviously don't nervous, but he's going to find out who's the boss. He's going to find out he stepped in the wrong place. He came into my realm, and I'm not going to shapeshift on him. I'm not going to do all that. I'm going to whack him. I'm going to outsmart him. He can outrun me. He's faster, nimble, small, in better shape than I am, but I'm going to trick him. Yeah. So that's it. Somebody says sticky traps. No, sticky traps is too easy. It's too, what's the word? Humane. He needs a horrible, so if he screams that the other one's here and they come and ask him, why are you feeling so bad? And he goes, we came in here in Roderick's place and everything else. I want him to go and tell the others. I want him to go back where he came from, limping, barely walking, and they going, what's wrong? And he tell them that he had a feast and he's full, and they believe him like we do with the lies, and they run and get their feast. And then mama comes in and say, oh yeah, my kid is great. She said it rips their legs off. Yeah, if they try to get out of that. Mice here now, avoid them. I can tell you're not afraid of rats. Did you say chef? Yeah. I mean, well, if the reptilians are going to come, they can eat them. That's a feast. I mean, behold. Yeah. So we would just do it. Is his tail really long? Yeah. His tail is about that long. So I think he's a baby, something else. His body is like this, but his tail is like fucking, that's what I see running around the corners. You know what I'm saying? His tail is like he forgetting his tail. Like, dude, go back and get your tail. You know what I'm saying? And so he could be something else, but yeah, he's gonna have to go and warn the others. He's gonna have to tell everybody, do not step into this dude's place. They bite their legs off and get away from the sticky trap. What? Lydian said baby wood rat. Huh. Well, the stuff I have will whack him too. But if he's a baby, that means he got sisters and brothers. And the fact that I did put him, he went one way and came out another way. Tell me he could be baby brothers and sisters. He said chickabaca. It could be. It could be. It could be. I'm not doubting that it's not. It's one of those things. It could be. Yeah, but anyway, if none of y'all got the point and went to that other video and download the gateway document and just start reading, I'm gonna do my breathing exercises tonight. I'm gonna do all of that. It's working. It's really working. Perspective, calming, seeing things a little different, and then that audio. I'm gonna put my headphones tonight when I lay down. I'm gonna sit up and let it play, and then I'm gonna be studying the Genius Code. I don't know if y'all heard of that, where it teaches you image streaming. Now I'm on a part where you can see what's behind you in front of you. And maybe that's why I'm seeing him over there, because he's really behind me, but I can see him. Maybe this gateway thing is really working where I'm seeing dimensional and stuff, but I'm still going to whack him out. Oh, Ben, no, he better not be that dude. Being the two of us, I'm not singing that song. And I sung it when I was young, and I wish I had a friend like Ben, like Michael Jackson when I was a kid, right? Like I wish I had a pet rat like Ben that'll beat people up. Now I get it. We're not going down that route. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a baby big man. Well, either way, he's naive, and naivety, as we know, is going to get him in trouble because I'm going to outsmart him. So he can hang out where he's going. But in a minute, I'm going to outsmart him. He's from another dimension. And he probably is going in and out. But he shouldn't have came here. He should have went somewhere else. And pretty much. So, yeah. So I'm going to figure out a way so what y'all going to see is that I'm doing more as I study more into the symbols and symbolism of stuff. That's I can't turn it down. I've just done too many reading. I got too many books. I went to half price books this past weekend. not this past weekend, but Monday or Tuesday early morning, before I went to the Vid Summit conference, and bought 5-6 more symbolism books, and saw the McDonald's symbol in the true meaning of McDonald's. So I'm gonna do a show about that. They're in the books, man, and they're there, and it's a powerful thing that's happening right in front of us. And I think it's something that we should understand, that these corporate companies are using. I found a document of Pepsi. I think I mentioned that. I might do a whole show on that, where the company who made their stuff is 30-some page or 20, 30 pages, but they actually use sacred geometry in this. They have it all listed out, what feelings, how it's going to make us feel, what particular numbers, what era of sacredness and ancient stuff that they took, all of this to make that little red, white, and blue thing we think. But how they turned it, how they knew if they turned it 45 degrees, we were going to feel this way, we're going to feel this way, and the colors, and how it was about taking us off the planet, so to speak, their whole meaning of using a circle. And this is what they pay for, why some of us will go and get our friend to make me a logo, and don't understand that you need them to make you a symbol. This is why most of these companies like Starbucks and the rest of them, their symbol doesn't match what they're doing, because they're not playing that game. But the amateur people that we have, everywhere you go, your logo matches what you do, because some dumbass branding person who are smart telling us that's branding. They don't have a clue to what that really is. And I'm not saying effective branding is not, but that's the millions and gazillions of people who don't know. But the ones who do know is accessing our conscious world. They're accessing places with our eyes and ears without our permission. They're using magic and power through ancient communication that's within all of us. And I'm stumbling up on it every day, and I'm just like, whoa, this is legit. So it's legit. Yeah, this is legit. Yeah, and it is real. Well, she said Pepsi. Yeah, I'm telling you, if I had the document, I have it in there, but I didn't print it up, but I'm gonna do a whole show on it. You all will just be like, you'll feel violated in such a way that they have spent millions. They didn't call, cousin, Boo Boo Head to design something because he know how to draw. They call people who understand human psychology, human origin, human sacred geometry, and sacred mythology, who understood symbolism, who understood the things. Because you got to remember, symbols was here before we all even spoken language. And we all can be put in a room together, every last one of us right now, put in a room. And all of our mouths are touched or taped up, so we cannot speak. And somebody light a fire on that end. And if the symbol of an arrow pops out in this way, no words, but an arrow, and there's nothing over here, and then another arrow goes that way, when we go, we're all going to start running toward the arrows, not knowing it's leading us off a cliff, when we could have went that way, which had no symbols, and we just followed our gut, right? Our gut was like, nah, it's dark though, but something told me I need to go in there. But you don't believe your instinct and your intuition, and you go follow the arrows. The symbols tell you what to do, and it tells your mind how to move and where to go. And ain't nobody said a word. You just followed the symbols. We do it every day. We live it daily. Yeah, factor it. Not, yeah, we live it every day. Yeah, they spend billions to get in our subconscious mind, and yet we don't think about doing it to build our lives. Because you can still say the wealth of the wicked. If there could be some bad people, you take their money and do good things. I don't know, but it doesn't make us bad to learn the fact of it. And so this is where you begin to understand you're not all things to everyone, but you're all things to the people that you're supposed to be. But yeah, I'm following my heart. I'm following truth versus authority. It's just in me. I can't stop it. I can't not lose. I'm losing, not sleep, but it's repetitive. That is just all about, you know, I didn't say truth over authority. Then we're going to get whooped. They're going to use their power and thinking we're going to overturn them. But truth versus, meaning we're just going to go against, and they're not going to see that as a threat because they're going to still think we're not moving fast enough or powerful enough. But over, they think we're going to overturn, and they're not doing that. That's why I did not put that in the verbiage. Truth over authority. Truth versus authority. It's us, them, mine, their mind, our minds. Yeah, we have to do that. Yeah, we have to do that. Saw a video yesterday about a show, and I have to find it and watch it, but it's depressing if it's us. Yeah. Diva says they were here from the beginning, of course, and to understand all ancient codes, symbols, and origins and language makes up the world, play with the spell, speak spells. Yeah. I mean, I'm working on a video that I want to do now. I went to an ancient church that's been around 100 years. And I grew up in a church that you don't talk about the Zodiac signs and all that because that's just not in it. But I start studying symbols, and I find out that Plato, who was a student of Socrates, says that the Zodiac was the gate to heaven, right? So why, if I go to any of our churches today, you don't see it, but all of these hundreds of year old churches here in Dallas, they all got Zodiac symbols over the doorways. They're 100-year-old. They're built in 1800s. Every last one of them have Zodiac symbols over the doorway. But you would not find that sugar honey iced tea on a church, the Potter's house door. You're not finding that. You're not finding that on these modern day churches today. They weed that out. Why? Why don't they want us to know that? True story. Why won't they want us to know that? I'll show you one of the pictures now. So I'm studying that. I'm like, it's not weird, but why are they doing this? Why are they hiding this? And it's just kind of one of those things. And so I was like, okay, let's do some research. But, we're going to go into it more deeper than just that. I'll show y'all right here if y'all can see. I'm sure y'all can see this picture. But look at that. Count that. That's a Zodiac sign. There's 12, and the archways, if you go look up the symbolism for archways, that's to go through the portal to the other side. So all of these archways mean something. Okay. This up there, I don't have it there, but there's triangles, fire signs all up this thing, all the way up to the crucifixion that they have on the top of this thing, sending the message. Yeah, Jesus chose this, based on the Zodiac. Yeah. So there's right there. That is a crucifixion going that's the crucifixion all the way up there. But on here, you can't really see it. But all this thing has not water signs, but fire signs everywhere. So yeah. So that's one of the things that we're doing, and pretty much. I was just getting ready to get out, Rob, but I'll put a link up. You can come in real quickly and show your stuff before we go. Let's do that. I'm gonna just put it. Yeah, we're not gonna stay long. I was just going to get off, Rob, but there it is in the chat. Click it, bring it in. Let's see your setup. Rob is setting up his podcast setup, so let's do that. But if anyone y'all want to support the show tonight, it would really be good for y'all to do that. Or you can go into the merch shop. You can get you the book of Sacred Secrets while Rob is coming along. And you can learn some stuff. If you have not gotten it, it's about done. And pretty much. And hang on, Rob, 1 second. But if you have not, you can get your book of Sacred Secrets. You can learn about this geometry stuff. You can learn about, bag it up a little bit. But it's there. It's in the merch. Make sure you get it. If you have not got the audio to work with the thing, you can go in and get all of that. You should do all of this, support us, or you can use Cash App and just send a donation or whatever you want to do. But this would give you all of this stuff where I'm growing. And it's not, you can't study. This is what I was talking about. That's on that church I just showed you, all these fire signs, and they're going into an ascension and going all the way up to the crucifixion. These people are playing something different, and then we need to learn this. So you will learn all of that. I'm just, I'm not going to keep trying to tell y'all to do stuff, but if you decide you do it, but it is worth learning and doing that. But if you do, let me get Rob in this thing. Now I have a different symbol books. I have 17 of them bad boys now, 23 now, but you definitely want to do it. Let's get Rob in here so we can see his stuff. There you are. All right, brother.
Hey. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
So you got your podcast stuff, huh?
Yeah, still getting things together here. Still getting situated, set up.
All right.
But it's starting to come around.
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, so you ready to do your podcast? Go ahead and tell them a little bit about what you're going to do before we get out of here. So, well,
I'm jumping into the consciousness community with you, Rod, and I'm coming in with some content. I'll be working with some content. I'll probably start off the show with my spiritual awakening. How I came about my spiritual awakening. How when I sent you that UFO. Remember, I sent you the
yeah.
That UFO I'd taken on the flight to Atlanta back in 2023 on the 24th of May. We were just above the clouds, and we were at the at the 33-degree ley line, where the UFO was just sitting there hovering. And a lot of people, if they know about that 33-degree ley line, that's where the Earth's magnetic force is most concentrated, around that 33-degree ley line.
Is that what your podcast is going to be about? Or so what would they expect if they subscribe to your podcast? So what are they going to hear week in and week out? What are you going to do for them?
Well, I'm gonna come with some different content from it comes from different from a little bit with UFOs. It's gonna deal with consciousness, basically also getting more to dealing with oneself, waking up the chakras, the 7 chakras, and working and becoming one with oneself, learning to come into your true self. Also learning about uncovering some of the secrets and some of the stuff that you're going through too, Rod. But trying to come from a different. I might come from a laughter type of humor, more into it, probably kind of on a wide open, like, hey, crazy little attitude type of thing, So I don't know. It's I still want to try to make my mark on how I'm coming about doing this, but the content could go from all kind of pretty much all the conscious and crazy secret stuff that's out there. We need more people out here to come and hit more people from different ways on with this subject. If it can come with them with laughter, if it needs to come at them with hey, wake the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty much from there, man. But I wish you the greatest of success, and to tap in, look at some of the things I've done, not so much to say wrong, but some of the challenges that I've had. I will tell you, because I think it's time for us to mastermind in these scenarios, because it's a hard ride, and right. Your goal is to be at the Conscious Award and being voted on, right?
Yes,
and winning. Okay. and it's hard. It's really hard as you're being, because you can't be everything to everyone. I can go back from the 3 years I've done, except for Nicole, people like Judith. There's people that, I can say something that may not be agreeable, but they don't judge my friendship over it. It could be knowledge based or whatever. But I've had some people very close or people that supported the show. As long as you are in their agenda, as long as you are feeling that, the people are going to approach you to help you. They're going to say, we're going to do this for you. But really they are wanting you to put their agenda in place, that they're not willing to sacrifice and be up here and take the ridicule. They're going to, hey, send you stuff, send you things. But the minute you don't incorporate their version of what they think within your context, they cut you off.
Wow.
Yeah, and these are people that you trust, that you let into some of your circles, that you let into some of the things, and you're not supposed to be human. Some of them do things that, uh, but, and you're not supposed to display that openly, because you're not supposed to have that. You're not supposed to have that type of personality. You're not supposed to go through pain, or you're not supposed to be upset, or you're supposed to always carry yourself. And I get it, because it is all about perception. So where I'm going with that for you is to open a door to you to call up on me. We've talked, and we're going to continue to talk, but not just about the good. Because there is some bad when you step out here and decide that you want to go tell the truth.
Right.
There is some bad shit when you're going to face when you want to tell the truth. And that's the problem with truth, because any lie told long enough sounds like truth. And there's so many people who have been told lies so much,
right,
that your truth is so much of a lie to them that they're not even going to go look for the truth, because they just know you lying. But yet you got the truth. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. That's just the way they're going to do it too. And then the other part is about it, Rod, is that they don't taught so many people this stuff that they got them helping them do it. So
that's the whole point, and that's what we're up against. And that is the new journey. This is where it's time for us to rally. Everybody who's, like Terrence Howard said the other day, it's time for the truth. And I knew I was on point. And he was talking about authoritism, and I'm like, truth versus authority. This came in my dreams. This all came that you're going to do so much great stuff. You're going to do so much great things that you got to prepare yourself and protect yourself, because you're about to open up a can of worms. Not just worms, but you're about to open up minds. And when you do this, but it does require me to no longer settle with my old mindset of who I was. And so I'm taking the initiative to study more, read more, grow more. And more I get a little more healthier. The more and more it's a journey. Oh, now I don't even desire that particular food that I used to just use as comfort, right? But the knowledge of it, and it wasn't. I had so many people that said all you have to do is, but I just wasn't moving at that pace. But somehow it's like everything is on time and in time. But I'm confident, hey, I'm gonna get there, and I'm gonna do this. And this past weekend, the last 3 days of meeting all these visionaries, these people with dreams that are just, and they're insurmountable odds against them, and they're fighting this YouTube thing. I'm using, for example, this podcast thing that you're about to be up against, because you got to grow an audience.
Yeah.
And that is not simple.
I know.
And thank God I've achieved as far as I've gotten now, and how big I'm about to go. But you have to do this, and you have to do it not just walking on ice, but unapologetically, but do apologize when you're wrong. So I'm just telling you have to do it. So welcome into the flame of success, because it's going to be a good feeling.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
And just come in and talk your stuff. Documentation beat conversation all days of the week, and watch those other energy takers and everything else, man. And, and get you a better camera next.
Yes.
Because you got a face for TV. They need to see
it. Yeah, it's all coming together. The next best camera, that's going to be the next best thing here. I got to get another tripod set up here. But
the audio is good. The audio is the most important, because it don't matter what they can't see. But if they can barely hear it and it's bad audio, they will cut off in a heartbeat. So
right. So the audio is good.
The audio is good. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, that was
the audio is good. Everything. So that interface is working really well. And you can probably spend, we'll probably do it. We're probably next week, we're going to take a collection, and a good webcam that's high definition will probably run about $40 to $60. We're going to raise that for you next week. Let's see if I
whatever it
listen.
comes by.
I may can't get a lot of donations for me, and thank Lillian for sending hers. But we can turn the focus on you, and together we can get a webcam.
Hey,
And there should be a time that I should just gift it because I can do it because that's just who I am anyway. And just be like, you know what, brother, your shit is in the mail. But
hey! I
but it's
cherish
fun.
that mic, man. And when I come across that stage, shout out to Rod, who helped me and buy the big secret and how he with this
Yeah,
microphone. He's got me
yeah.
my first big camera and hookup. And hey, I'll go ahead and get that shout out and give all the appreciation too, because
Hey,
we're all family, and I'm looking at that.
man, I'm trying to get a guy to make me a wood box to go on the bottom of this, and that he's going to put a light on that box, and it's going to light this pyramid crystal straight up. And
Oh, it needs the dimensions, man. Send me the dimensions of that thing. I'll go ahead and create something.
okay, yeah, and
I
this
like,
thing is,
this is all it takes is the dimensions of it. Once you get the dimensions of it, then you can come up with a nice little light box for it,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
can
and
like one of my,
just sit
you
and
want to do, you
I
want a
just want
wood
to
one?
sit it on top of it, and yeah, it could be wood at the bottom. It's just going to look like a stand, but it's sending the light up through these crystals, because
Right.
it's got a crystal bottom. See, so
Okay. So is those black bars going across like in the middle?
they're crystal as well, like a,
Oh.
but it's clear crystals in here, and then it's another
Okay.
crystal black bar, so they'll light up too. So because you can see all the way through. So from the
Okay. So
side,
you want the box to be wooden, but if it's painted black, so that match that, or
no,
you
that's
just
fine. That'll work too. The light just going to come through it. But if you look from the
right.
side, you can see in the way Billy had this design. You can see into this pyramid crystal down to the next one. He spared no expense. The dude, and this thing is heavy as all get out, dude. It is like,
Man, I'm excited for you. I was so glad to hear you got that award. I was, man, shoot.
mm-hmm.
You lucky. If I was there, I'd been also hyped up in that crowd.
Oh, the crowd was hyped, man. I really
I know
felt
it
the
was.
energy. I felt the love. I felt it all came down to just knowing you do what you're doing, and it was really exciting. So it was pretty much from there as well. So
Wow.
Any message you want to? All right, let me give you 3
Here,
minutes.
this is my little.
I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. This is the Rob Show. You got 3 minutes to. This is your show, your audience, and I'm gonna put the timer on. You rock us, brother. This is your show. 3 minutes. Let me get the timer, and let me find my clock. Timer right there. We're gonna go down. Yeah, we're gonna hear whatever you got to say, how you want to say it. You're gonna make the impression, and the time is yours. Let's go.
Hey, this is Wide Open and Woke with Rob Howe. Here we're going here. This is the beginning here. Oh yeah, Wide Open Woke podcast. This is the beginning of, I should say, the logo. What we started out as one of the logo ideas. But anyway, this is Wide Open Woke, and we're here to discuss many topics that's going on today. And basically, I just want to help the conscious community, help everyone wake up to this point that we are more than what they say we are. Now, today, as I woke up to this morning, I give thanks to my Creator and my Divine, who I choose to call God, and I look at Mother Nature, and I look at the universe, and send out my gratitude and go throughout the day, because we are beings having a spiritual experience is down here on this earth. And as I step out throughout the day and I give thanks, I like to look at other people and kind of see what kind of hardships are falling on them, and see if there's any way that I could help them in any kind of way. If I can give them a ray of hope to let them know that, hey, the way of kingdom that everyone's really looking at here is trying to it's not out there in the sky. I may have to go into the biblical standpoints of it, and saying how 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 the Bible has had me in a prison pretty much all my life since going under that doctrine, and then coming up from under that doctrine and saying that I am a divine individual that is created by a divine spark, and that I don't have to live my life under the dogma thinking that there is a hell that I'm going to go to. No, there is no hell. You know, the hell is only a state of mind. And then I learned that hell was brought into the Bible during the 1800s. And at one point, the rapture was just a footnote. Then they found out how good the rapture was swaying the people, and they decided to bring that into the conscious, into the Bible, canonized Bible also. So live your life, people. Live your life. Hell is just a state of mind. So, you know, step on out here. There's a whole big wide world out here, and we're going to learn a whole lot more about it with energy, vibration, frequency, and all that we have for it. We're going to get this party started, and I'm glad to be working with Roderick Martin and Why the Big Secret, so we can get this message straight all across the world and let everybody know,
all
hey,
right, you got
it's time to wake up.
All right. There it is right there. All right, so let me stop that. Y'all just heard from Audio Rob. And
but you know, I have to do a little more polishing up, Rod. So I'm
listen,
you know,
man,
you got me
let me
late.
tell
You caught me off guard, so I'll be.
But you know what? I did that so that you will walk the plank, and you did it. You didn't say like some people, oh, I'm not ready yet. Let me work. No, that means you are ready.
I walked the plank.
You walked the plank. You walked the plank. It wasn't about polishing. It wasn't about everything. It was the courage to start talking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where all it is, man. And that's what I would tell anybody: start talking. And,
that's the big hold up right there, Rob. Because you say it, and then when you see everybody else like you and everybody else like, man, they got their stuff together, man. It's gonna take me a minute, man. I ain't gonna, you know, and that'll keep you waiting. That will keep you waiting until you just get up here. Then you see some of these other people. They got all these followers, and they ain't got no equipment. They just got their doggone cell phone. Look at their cell phone, and they got over 100,000 followers. And they, I'm like, all they got is a cell phone, and they got like over 50,000 followers just with a cell phone.
Well, that's one of the things. I'm trying to take a picture of this guy for y'all. And he's sitting next to this bottle. Okay, there he is. All right. So I'm going to show y'all a picture of this dude. He's going to die tonight, though, or tomorrow. He really is. Let me show the picture. See if I can zoom in on him. Y'all can catch him. He looks pretty big compared to this damn Coke bottle. Okay, there we go. I have a reference for y'all. All right. So let me zoom in and see if we can get the camera.
Oh, you found that guy.
I'm going to put him on by itself first. Hang on. Okay, so y'all see him right there. He's a baby, but I just took a picture of him. So he's by my front door. You see the bottle I threw at him, but if you can see that he is about as long as that water bottle, that is not a mouse. I don't think that. So now that I see him, but there he is, and he's got to go. He's got to go. There you go.
That's got a long tail.
He's got a long tail. So he could be something bigger, but like I said, I got some stuff for him. He's been going back and forth right there and going over there. So when we get off, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna fill it up with munchies that he's gonna think that he had hit the jackpot. That I love him to death.
Hey, part of that Reiki healing is that last saying in the Reiki healing daily saying is that I would be kind to my neighbor and every living thing.
Well, let me tell you, I have dominion over this place. Justify that one. I got dominion over this place. You better believe I'm going to execute my dominion capabilities. And yes, I'm going to drink some water. I've been trying to drink a gallon now a day. So, and man, it's just pretty much. So
I'm going to tell you that I see the difference too, Rod.
Yeah, you know what? My shirts have been this one.
Yeah, you shrinking right before our eyes.
Yeah, this one and you know, last year Vid Summit when I went, they had like a 2-hour line and 3 hours, and I couldn't stand there. And then lady said, another girl said, I'll sit there for you. This time I stood the whole time, and went through it. Knees were hurting after that cement for a few days, but I got around. And but the other part was just learning so much, man. I just wish there was a community of a lot more of us people, especially not Black people, but just people who want to conversate with each other, not have this isolation of your channel, my channel, because the tactics are still the same. But I was managed that I did put together a coalition this past weekend, and some people to talk to and do some things. And so, but yeah, I'm going to do something different. So make the announcement. Like I said, y'all, September the 10th, 17th, 24th. I'm not sure which day. Now I'll be doing some pre-recorded stuff for Forbidden Knowledge, and I may play some over here or may not. But I got to get out here and do the new content. I got to study it. I got to put it together, practice editing the way I need to do it and how we're going to play it. And this is my moment, point of no return, not stop making excuses. Let's do it. It's not about how I felt last year where I didn't have the energy. I got the energy. But it's also a learning curve and to step out on not just faith. I got the faith, but step out with tactful procedure of doing these things, not just winging it. And what you said too, I made an announcement. They had me to say something at the conference on an interview, not on stage, but I gave the best tip. I said, for all of you YouTubers, go to people's channels. You can go to my channel, go to somebody's channel, click not their most popular video, go to the oldest video. And you'll see these people with millions of subscribers, and you'll see they've been doing it for 6-7 years, and they was having cell phones or didn't have no microphones. They were young or didn't have it all right. And today they fully polished and editorial. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's totally different, and you have to go back there. Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out. Then I'm working in with lighting and stuff, and that's a whole big issue right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got light up above me. I got a light behind, big dome light about this big. I have lighting. Y'all probably can't see that one, but you can see this one. So if I put it on the screen, let's put it up. That light is huge. That's 4 feet. This one is even bigger. There's that one sitting over there in front of me and then up above me. So yeah, you got to have that lighting and put it in one crossways, one behind. But you can start out with ring lights and all that. You don't have to do all this. I learned this over time. Yeah. My candles, for ambiance, but people like them. But you can get this and you can put it right there and burn yourself. You can eat it. It's edible candle. But it's just a light, you know what I'm saying? It looks like a candle. You just turn it on and on.
So how the backdrop look with the pyramids? Is that all right?
There's some that I already was complimenting your pyramid. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I will buy a light thing behind you and shine up on it, right behind you, and it'll separate you in the background.
Okay.
I don't have mine on, but I could turn on these lights behind me if I want to, and it'll light up this thing. But I am going to get ready to change my background. I'm going to change all of this too. So
yeah, everybody's changing their studio. The ones that been around as long as you have, everybody's been changing studios a little bit.
Yeah. And you could, but I'm gonna have the best background that anyone can see.
Wouldn't it be good to have one of those green backdrops, the green room backdrop, where you could just put anything in the background you want to? You could be out in outer space.
Yeah, you could do that, or a lot of people are moving since the price have gone down. A lot of people are buying these televisions, like the 80-inch TV. Billy did it recently, and they just put it behind them, and you can change it to where you want it. Because the way you see, what y'all see here is about 3 feet in the middle and another 1.5 feet on both sides, but it's 9 foot of shelf. But the camera's not catching that. But an 80-inch TV will fill this whole background behind me, and I could do colors, and it just gets distracting if you don't do it right. Depends on how close you are. So
okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
yeah. So you could do that. And Kim says, I'm going to take the leap forward. Archangel Nathaniel, yo, Rob, I love your energy. Will like to collab. So she says she want to collab with you. Kim.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, hey. So y'all
Well,
can send up.
don't make it no problem. How does she contact you? How do y'all email?
Okay, well,
phone
I
number
just start the Facebook group first. It's called Wide Open Woke Podcast. That's on. You'll find that on Facebook, and then the YouTube site will come on. What is it? They said this Monday or Tuesday. It's going to be Monday or Tuesday. Is going to be, you're going to see the link for the YouTube. Then it's going to come through Yard. I went through Yard Stream. I'm going through Yard Stream, the one that you told me about, Rod.
Mm-hmm.
And then then another person told me about dealing with YouTube, not YouTube, Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
But Zoom is kind of a little more complicated. We'll have pretty much talk about that off air on that one, Rob. But it was something on that I wanted to run past you on that.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, just let me know. StreamYard is good. And it'll allow you to do a lot of extra stuff. You can put your brand in. You can put clips that I do. You know, I don't play them now. But
hell no.
You know, you can do a lot of added additions to StreamYard.
I have some of that now. That's the added stuff that they supply you with. But what about some of the stuff you got supplied on your board too? You can do that also, right?
On my board back there or here? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, on your soundboard, it's like it.
Oh yeah. You could do. Now you can play background music and stuff through StreamYard. Like, you know, they just did it now. Like you hear that, so it sounds a lot better than. But yeah, you can put it through the soundboard, where I can do, you know, effects and stuff, like, you know. Yeah. You know. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna get us out of here, brother.
Okay, bro.
All right. All right, everyone. I just want to thank y'all. We've been here 3.5 hours, and I was only planning on 30 minutes. But that's the dedication that we have and everything else. And hopefully you can hear me, and I'll turn the mic up a little bit. But I love each and every one of you. I just want you to know I do. And I love each and every one of you, because I truly just do, and I do. And hopefully, as we get ready to go on this next journey of symbolism, that it becomes shareable, virable, right? Become about, you know, and all those things and everything else. So that's it. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. And as always, I'll be gone for a few weeks. I may top in, and if I can't stand it, I'll be back next week. But the goal is to take a break, to recuperate, to realign, digest the stuff that I'm doing, going over all of my videos, my outliers, stuff that I've done, hadn't done, or could have done better, what y'all like, didn't like, reading all of the comments. I'm going to go for days, not to read the comments, but understand something I'll be missing, or maybe there's some content that I could talk about, or to get a better understanding, and creating the avatar for the audience, so I can understand you, understand what we're doing. Because nothing will be as it was ever again. I promise the fucking God of that to you. I can't play with this. We have a calling, we have a mission, and we're going to do what we're doing. So hug somebody tonight, if it's possible for you to do so. Make sure you do those. She says, Rod, what was the message? Can you please tell me one more time on how to connect? Kim, send me an email and I'll forward you, contact@whythebigsecret.com. I'll forward you Rob's information. Okay. That'll get you better than looking for that other stuff. Just send me an email. If you send it tonight, I'll forward it contact at Roderick, you know the email. So contact at rodericksecret.com, and I will send it over to you. All right, so let's get out. Let's do. Yeah, that's my jam now. Yeah, let me cut it off right here. Good night, y'all.